and South Korea and Japan that it is becoming more of a threat. And South Korea and Japan are seeing the benefits that they can have if they start to share their intelligence and their militaries work together on this. And we've just heard from the press conference that the two sides have agreed to restart security talks shortly.
The BBC's Gene McKenzie in Seoul. Poland's president says his country plans to give Ukraine a dozen MiG-29 fighter jets. Poland, the first NATO member nation to fulfill Ukraine's request for aircraft. News and analysis, townhall.com. Texas officials are taking over Houston's nearly 200,000 student school district.
The decision by the state to intervene follows allegations of misconduct by school trustees and chronically low academic scores at one of the nearly 50 high schools in the nation's 8th largest district. The decision has angered Democrats who call the move political. Other big cities, including Philadelphia, New Orleans, and Detroit in recent decades, have gone through such state takeovers. Such drastic measures are generally viewed as last resorts for underperforming schools. John Scott reporting.
Shares of banking giant Credit Suisse have soared 30% after it announced it will move to shore up its finances by borrowing up to almost $54 billion from the Swiss central bank. And watching Wall Street ahead of this morning's opening bell, the NASDAQ futures up 37 points, S&P futures down 3 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy Thursday. Mm-hmm. Oh, windy. Thirsty Thursday. You know, they did exactly what I said they're going to do. You know, they were talking like at the beginning of this week how, we got a good chance of rain.
Rain chances, yeah.
So, like, today's is down to 20 and then 30 tonight, and then those 40 and 50s for, like, Saturday and all that, down to, like, 20, 30. You know what's going to happen.
High hopes at the beginning of the week. It starts to kind of taper off towards the end.
They're like, oh, it's going to rain, and then you're like, oh, I'm ready for the rain. Well,
let's tamp your expectations, New Mexico.
Yeah, so we'll see. Hopefully we get some moisture.
It's going to be drier than you think.
But I look and I'm like, all right, they are kind of tampering down these percentages now. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Hopefully, cross fingers, do your rain dance so we get some moisture.
A few extra clouds make for a mighty purty sunrise.
Well, Brian Luck is here, and he already said, kids, do your homework. So,
which means right now, on the bus, on the way to school, frantically do your homework, just like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Get it done in the last minutes before the second bell rings.
Yeah. So don't worry, the rains and stuff will not delay, or they even say snow, but you know. I don't know, like in the 50s, 60s, like something near 70 today. So, you know, just rain.
I don't know if it's still how it works, but it used to be, it was, their first bell would ring and you have like 5 minutes to get to class, and the second bell would ring. If the second bell rang, the teachers locked the doors. You were done.
I seem to remember something along the same lines when I was in high school.
You were tardy and then you were truant.
I don't think they locked the doors, like actually locked the doors, but they did say second bell means you're late kind of thing.
Yeah.
I do remember those days. So I always like how everything's down to minutes. It's like I don't know about y'all, but like when I had lunch, lunch was like, all right, lunch is from 11:37 to 12:05.
Yeah. No, we always had that like weird minute increments, and it was because they had to piece it up into A lunch and B lunch.
Sure.
And the best, and I will never forget this, the best was having B lunch.
Yeah.
Because I went to Roswell High, so Roswell High is separated into two areas. At least it was when I went to school. There's the Commons area, which is where all the fancy food is. The stuff they bring in. The Arby's, the Pizza Hut would bring in breadsticks or the little personal pizzas.
Man, y'all got it good. We didn't get none of that.
It was closed campus, so they brought the good stuff.
We had closed campus too. We had none of that.
But then me and my friends who got reduced lunch, school lunch, would be at the opposite end of the school where the cafeteria was. It was a real caste system. It's like the elites over here, you plebs, you go have your lunch down the hall. But the best part was if you had B lunch and a fat kid like me, you could have seconds.
Ooh.
Because they had to get rid of some of the excess food.
Right.
So,
you're like, gluttony
go
city.
back and get me a second rectangle pizza.
Give me another one of those cheese steaks.
That's right.
Yeah. No, we didn't have any of that. We had all in closed campus, but you had your cafeteria line where you got in and got your tray and you got your lunch. But then they had like a snack line that you could get like
Little Debbie's.
Yeah,
and stuff.
or you could get a sack lunch, which always had that steak and cheese thing in it.
Oh,
chips and usually fruit and some kind of drink cup or something, and then milk. You get the milk, the little thing of milk there. Chocolate, of course.
Gotta get them hormones up in you.
But yeah, and I remember in high school, like it was a big deal when you would be like, "Hey, can I get double lunch?" And like, you pay for it, but you pay $2.25 instead of $1 and whatever it was.
I don't know what it is today, but I had reduced lunch, and reduced lunch was 40 cents.
See, I think lunch was like $1. I think it was 90 cents when I started elementary school, and I think it was like $1.25 or $1.50.
Lunch is like, I think lunch is now a requirement and is completely free. I'm pretty sure.
I think statewide, isn't it?
Yeah. And of course, my kid doesn't eat school lunch. It's like, way to complicate things, Rhiannon. We tried so hard at the beginning of this year. We're like, try lunch, try some new things.
They got chicken nuggets too.
Yeah.
So it's not the same.
No, but when the teacher said, "Oh, hey, we have a microwave here, so if you want to send her with some frozen chicken," I'm like, "That's disgusting," but she eats them. It's weird the hills that she'll plant her flag on. It's like, there's flavor out there too, right? I mean,
someone take your daughter to Flavor Town, please.
Jiminy Christmas. I've been trying for half a decade now.
Every night, Sean wants to go to Flavor Town, and he can't go to Flavor Town.
I'm desperate to go to Flavor Town.
He can't go to Flavor Town.
So long. Sitting over here at Hamburger Helper Junction.
That's right. He just wants to go to Flavor Town, and he wants to take his daughter with him.
Put a little. Last time I made Hamburger Helper, I served the kids or whatever, and I put a little extra seasoning on my plate, and then I ended up giving some of my meat to Rhiannon because that's the part that she likes, and she was disgusted that mine had flavor.
Oh. Well,
I'm trying so hard not to raise as Caucasian a kid as I am, but boy, howdy, is it hard.
She likes what she likes. What are you going to do? So, let me give you the rundown.
Oh, yeah.
Get this thing going. We have some Flavor Town for you today. Don't worry.
Maybe bring the flavor. If anybody brings the flavor, it's Brian Luck.
We got Flavor Town today.
That's right.
Now, we're going to have Brian Luck, Roswell Independent School District Superintendent, join us. Earlier this week, they had their monthly school board meeting, so we'll talk about that and other things happening around the district. In the 8 o'clock hour, about 8:15, Public Affairs Director for the City of Roswell, Juanita Jennings, will join us, give us an update on things happening in and around the city. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, we'll have folks from the District Attorney's Office join us. I believe we will have the DA, the 5th Judicial District Attorney, Diana Luce, with us. I think that's how you say her name, Luce.
Luce, yes.
And then Dennis Kentai will join us as well, and we'll have a cool little conversation there.
I've noticed that man has a little extra spring in his step now that he gets to carry a gun again. You didn't really get a badge and a gun for being mayor.
Well, all you do is get people complaining to you.
Yeah,
so he probably has less of that, and so he's like, "It's a good day. No one's yelling at me about something." Kind of comes with the job of mayor, you know.
Just saying.
You get the big set of keys, but you also get yelled at
true.
a lot, too.
Eventually, you can get a little happier when a gun is digging into your hip.
That big key ring with all the keys to the city they walk around with.
Dude, when I was a kid, I was made to believe that a skeleton key was like a thing that existed, like an actual, like in the city. The key to the city was like you could get into
a
any
universal
building.
lock,
yeah.
or key to unlock any lock.
I was like, so if you get the key to the city, do you just like get free access to every place in town?
That's
You
right.
can just like walk in and be like, this is nice.
Yep.
I think I'm here now. I'm gonna be here.
I will squat here.
Like you walk in like John Travolta in Pulp Fiction, just look around, take it in.
This is exactly what it is.
Yeah,
So. But it comes on a big key ring. So. But anyway.
It's made of chocolate.
See, that's how you tell the janitor key ring is just silver. The mayor one is gold.
Can I tell you that's when I was a kid, that's why I thought prospectors bit their gold. Was to make sure it wasn't chocolate. The gold that they've mined out of the mountains, they bit it to make sure it wasn't chocolate.
Hey, you can blame Easter for that one.
No, you can blame Night
And
of
those
the
St.
Tail.
Patrick's Day gold coins. Remember you get the candy coins?
Yeah, or well, I was raised in Medill, and it was like the one slightly Jewish town in Oklahoma, so we had a lot of dreidel kids, a lot of chocolate coins getting tossed around.
Yeah, but that's their fault. Yeah. And then, of course, all gold prospectors had that hat and the gray beard too, and it's perfect.
Gold. Like, are you physically afraid of it? Did gold hurt your family? Gold. Yeah, it's gold. You came here looking for gold, and you found what you came here looking for. Why are you so surprised?
I'd love to get both. I found gold and chocolate.
I'm gonna get up and do a little dance. I found some gold. You came here to find it.
I found a vein that had 70% gold and 30% milk chocolate.
If I couldn't find my keys, and I went inside and found my keys, I'm like, oh, I found my keys. You came here to find that.
Yeah.
That's why you're here.
Gold's probably more valuable.
I mean, well, depends on where you're going.
With the keys, too. All right. It is 7:15. Let's go ahead and get you up to date on the weather. Whether or not you like it, I don't know. It's a little bit of everything.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. A few isolated showers around our area today with low pressure moving to our north and a cold front dropping through. Wind will be gusty and our afternoon high in the upper 60s. A few rain or snow showers overnight, getting pretty cold. Our low in the low 30s. And then tomorrow maybe an early snow shower. Clearing up in the afternoon and we'll hit about 50. Some clouds and a few showers over the weekend. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton and that's your latest forecast.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 55 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity also at 55%. Coincidence? Absolutely. Winds are variable at 3 miles per hour. We are looking at a 20% chance of showers for this afternoon, mainly after 3. Sunny today and breezy, highs near 70, 69 officially. Southwest winds 10 to 15 this morning, 20 to 25. Gusting as high as 35 miles per hour later this afternoon. Tonight, we are looking at a slight chance of rain showers before midnight, then a chance of a rain and snow shower mix after midnight. Cloudy with an overnight low of 33, so it's just a hair above freeze, and hence that rain-snow mix. Winds will be out of the north 15 to 20. Dropping down 10 to 15 after midnight. However, you could see wind gusts as high as 30 miles per hour. Chance of rain tonight is 30%. They're expecting less than a half an inch of accumulation there. So don't expect too much there in the morning. Friday, partly cloudy, high of 52. Winds out of the northeast 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tomorrow night, mostly cloudy, overnight low of 34 degrees with southeast winds 5 to 10. Saturday, mostly cloudy, 50 for a high. Southeast winds 5 to 10. Notice I didn't talk about rain. They were earlier, not now. See, they're backing it off. Saturday night, though, they're tacking on a 20% chance of some showers before midnight. And then mostly cloudy with an overnight low of 32. 30% chance of some showers early on Sunday, but mostly cloudy for the day. High of only 49, so we'll be chilly on Sunday. We're looking at a 30% chance of showers Sunday night as well. It changing over to snow after midnight, mostly cloudy, overnight low of 32. And a 20% chance of showers Monday when you head back to work and school. Partly cloudy, highs near 60. All right, it is 7:18. We're going to take a 3-minute break. pay a few bills, and then Brian Luck, Roswell Independent School District Superintendent, will join us on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Wakefield Oil Company is a name you can rely on with full service at the pump the way it used to be. You can expect service in just 15 seconds. They offer bulk fuel and oil services and even diesel exhaust fluid. Wakefield Oil Company will deliver to farms, ranches, dairies, the oil fields, and more with dependable service you can count on. So the next time you need service or delivery, go with the name that locals have trusted since 1983. Wakefield Oil Company, 311 South Virginia in Roswell. Let them earn your business.
Your destination for health is closer than you think. You don't have to drive hours for personalized care. You can get high-quality health care right here, close to home, at Artesia General Hospital. From hip, knee, and shoulder replacements to sports injuries, general surgery, pain management, and wound care, our providers will help you get back to doing the things you love right here in Southeast New Mexico. Artesia General Hospital is here for you when you need us. To learn more about some of our key service lines, visit artesiageneral.com/closer.
The mission of Country Club Road is to know Jesus and make Jesus known. We want to know Jesus better so we can be more like him and be moved to share Jesus with those around us. One of the words we don't often think of when it comes to Jesus is accountability. Jesus always met people where they were, but he always called them to be more than what they were. He called a ragtag bunch of fishermen to follow him so they could be fishers of men. He called a tax collector who cheated his own people and called him to be a disciple. The Jewish leaders were ready to stone a woman caught in adultery, and once he called the leaders out for their hypocrisy, he told the woman to go and sin no more. Peter was one of his apostles in the inner three, but he repeatedly spoke and acted before he thought things through. He even went so far as to deny Jesus 3 times, even after Jesus warned him about his fall. But Jesus forgave him, and Peter became one of the pillars of the early church. He makes the same call to each of us. Let's answer that call.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Need new windows for your home? Beware of the sales gangster. Jennifer from Trustmark Roofing and Windows here. A sales gangster is a window salesperson with the mobster mentality. They intimidate, bully, and fast talk you into buying their less than quality windows during a 3-hour pitch. Think I'm kidding? Call a few window companies and see for yourself. Or you can skip the sales gangsters and call Trustmark. We have fair, no-nonsense pricing on our premium windows, and our appointments take only about 60 to 75 minutes. Just long enough to listen to what you need, show you your options, answer your questions, and give you a straightforward quote. Then it's up to you. We can take a no just as easy as a yes, but I'll guarantee you this: no sales gangsters. Sound fair? Call Trustmark Roofing and Windows for your no-obligation spring window assessment. 575-755-7663 or visit TrustmarkRoofPros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. More than 50% of Americans fall asleep on their sides. That's way better than falling asleep on someone else's side. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 7:21, and joining us in studio this morning, Superintendent for the Roswell Independent School District, Brian Luck, back with us. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you today?
Excellent. How about yourself?
Not doing bad.
Good deal. Well, sorry, I bursted kids' bubbles at the beginning of the show. I was like, hey, I know there's weather coming, but do your homework. I don't think it's going to amount to any delays or closures tomorrow.
I wouldn't hedge my bets there.
Yes, exactly. But I imagine you'll be out tomorrow morning at like 4:30 in the morning, driving around, making sure the roads are passable and all that good stuff.
Fun times.
I guess is that like an official, like when you get hired on as a superintendent, do they say, all right, first thing is you got to be out at 0400 to drive the roads when the weather is.
That's actually a funny story. I'm very blessed. I have a pretty large staff, and I have one gentleman that is kind of his primary job, and then another one that helps him out. And so whenever I came on, I said, I'm going to do it with you guys. And they were like, we really don't have to. And I was like, they're not going to put your name in the paper. No offense when it goes bad, but I would like to publicly thank Chris Tweet and Chad Cole, because they've done a phenomenal job over the last few years. And they
of course, Chad's got a new job now.
He does, but I don't think Tim's going to make him do the streets like that. But no, it's funny. It's one of those deals that you just don't realize. How you either get the phone call in the morning or you don't, saying that we're going to go or we're not going to go. But in the meanwhile, 2 hours prior to that, there's been a lot going on.
Sure.
So,
well, I do appreciate you you're always really good about keeping me up to date pretty quick on that stuff so I can get the word out. And that saves me a whole lot of double verifying, check-in, and everything else before I announce something.
I'll apologize ahead of time because you forget that it is 4:45.
Oh, well, I'm a DJ in the morning. I'm either up or up adjacent around that time. So I do appreciate it. Yeah, if we could just figure out this way to just move this stuff till noon, if we could have a meeting about that, that'd be great.
That'd be great.
But anyway, in the meantime, of course, the school board normally meets on the second Tuesday of the month. The second Tuesday and the second Wednesday didn't line up this month, so we had to finagle around here a little bit. But earlier this week on Tuesday evening, the school board did meet. You guys were there a lot, so I imagine it was a pretty full agenda of stuff if it went a little long on Tuesday.
It did. We were talking about that off air, and I was driving home and looking at, kind of reflecting on the meeting. We didn't have major issues, but it was a pretty lengthy agenda as far as the time. Had an opportunity to get some really neat presentations that came in, and had a moment or two where you could kind of feel good about things, and had some teachers come in and go over some stuff that we'll get to here in a second, but then had a really good presentation by University High School and Early College High School, and just, like I said, just conducting business and starting to see the ball moving in the positive direction. So wanted to let that play through to fruition, and it's a good meeting.
And this is something you and I have said, over the last several months here. It's kind of like, hey, all we're doing now is school stuff, stuff about school, and it's a nice pace, and it's kind of funny because that mindset's matriculated everywhere. Like just yesterday, we were talking with some of the guests about some of the events they've got going on, and we're like, hey, it's going to be normal like it was in 2019, not like it was in 2021 or 20. And your guys are kind of now into that groove now, where it's like, we're not talking about COVID every meeting. We're just talking about, budgets and curriculum and the things that we're supposed to be talking about every month here.
Correct. And it's interesting. We were talking about that the other day at one of our meetings, and very seldom do you can always say, well, this was like this or this was like that. But like you mentioned 2019, that's how many years ago? I know. And in the grand scheme of things, how many things would have already been different just because 4 or 5 years have gone by?
Sure.
And then when you say, well, it's different, well, how much of it is because of that, and just how much of just things are different?
Yeah. So exactly. So it's kind of nice to have a normal that is reminiscent of old normal.
There you go. I think our term is new normal.
Yes,
that's our term.
So that being said, so last night, was it a lot of just like presentations of different, obviously from the different groups that are doing, got different events and things, but sometimes it's also opportunities for, curriculum and different types of either software or programs in instituting that into the curriculum. So it's probably a cocktail of a lot of that kind of stuff.
It was. We had a group of teachers come in that have been, going through a training session and to help our kids with dyslexia. And
my wife's part of that group.
Strategies, and it was so neat because like I said, when people come in, we'll ask that they keep it to 10 minutes, and I think this one probably went closer to more like 45. But the reason it was just
it needed to be.
Well, it did, and the thing about it was it developed a life of its own, and that sounds weird for people that haven't been in that situation. But when people start talking about things that are working to people that want to hear that, it's a neat deal.
Sure.
And so as it got to rolling, and the information starts coming out, and we start hearing from the individual teachers that are a part of that cohort. And the work they're doing, and the excitement in their voice, and what they're looking forward to doing in the future, it like I said, the person that was created the presentation, I didn't have to do anything else after that. It ran itself.
Well, and it's kind of because my wife is one of the teachers that's part of this group, and so because my wife, she's She's one of the different ones. Like a lot of teachers, when they go on to get their masters and all that, they go on into administration and then they get their dossier done and that. My wife went reading specialist.
Right.
And so this is more in her wheelhouses. So she's part for her school. She's kind of the representative for the dyslexia, the training and all that. So she's going through it. But some of that training is online at home, like you're on your computer watching. So I kind of hear it in the so I'm in the room while it's going on, and a lot of it, it's really showing teachers, and at least the parts I've heard of the training, it really does a good job of showing teachers and showing people what people with dyslexia see. Like when you're trying to educate a child to teach them to read and write that has dyslexia, what you're telling them makes no sense because they're not seeing what you're seeing. And so a lot of the parts of training I heard, they're really showing the teachers and the staff exactly what the dyslexia student is going through. So in essence, you can get some familiarity and teach them to learn to read and write using their dyslexia as part of the solution instead of part of the problem.
Well, and the thing about that teacher, whoever that teacher is and whatever grade level that particular teacher's at, you just became that kid's hero.
Exactly.
Because you were the only one in however many years that they've been going to school that gets it.
Yeah.
And when you explain something, you're the only one that they can understand it from. It's interesting that you said that about being at the house and hearing things. Two of the ladies that were on the committee are sisters, and they both mentioned that their husbands can spout the lingo, they're at the house because they've heard it, or when they're out to dinner and they've talked about it. And so I'll put you in that group. But the neat thing about it is, they brought the presentation to us. We're looking forward to it expanding as much as possible. But it's a testimony to the people that reached out and found the availability of the opportunity for us. It's a very limited, it's a small group. And, we're immediately, the board was like, man, we want to expand this. We want to jump on this. And, we were reminding that there were stipulations as to how we got here into this. And so we're obviously looking at all options when it comes to this. I think that the data that we're going to get out of that would enhance our opportunities to take that to another level. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
We had, like I said, we've tried at every board meeting to bring in our schools, and we had, for no reason other than just we haven't. Our four big high schools, our Goddard, Roswell, Early College, and UHS have just kind of always been like, well, we'll get to them, and we've done the elementary schools, and so. We made a commitment early on that we wanted to roll through the high school. So we had Goddard and Roswell on one night. And last night we had the Early College and UHS. And Ms. Hall came in and started her presentation and then kind of broke it up into some of the pathways and had a couple kids and teachers for each of the, two different pathways.
Okay.
And what a neat chance for the school board and for the public in Roswell to listen to something work.
The day-to-day, what's going on in these classrooms.
We had two individuals that got up and spoke, and if you'd like to go take a look at it, it is still archived on our channel, and spoke of some of the hardships that they've run through in their lives, and what being at the particular University High School and finding their niche has meant to them, and
that's great.
What they're already planning to do, and what they both have employers that are already hooked into them.
Good for them.
And I mean,
that's exactly why these different schools came into practice to see it do exactly what it was intended to do. That's amazing.
Well, and it was so neat just I've changed where I said in the board grand scheme of things. To me, those five individuals who were duly elected by the public are an entity, and I'm there as a facilitator. So I've asked that I could move over so that the board and I'm the superintendent off to the side. And pardon me, it was so neat to see them as they're listening, because they're leaning into the programs and their intent. And then when they would get to that final moment where they would talk about the success, you could just see like a great big exhale, like what we're doing is working. And the work that they're putting in, as a board, they've supported a lot of things that they've had to go out on a couple limbs and just say, we're going to give this a shot.
Sure.
So we're really excited about that.
It's great to see.
Just
it's
a neat,
yeah.
like I said, it's one of those deals where they're talking, and when they're done, you look up at the clock and you go, well, never mind. 10 minutes is just a. That's
we need to get more time to talk. But and the thing I like about it is, like I said, we're seeing the success, we're seeing the results. What that means is more results means more opportunities, means more expansion of you want to make things that are working bigger and faster and stronger. So, because we're seeing such the success there, I mean, these would be good problems to have where they outgrow the facilities and things where they're currently having, and we have to devote more time and energy into those university high facilities and things just because we've got that. That's the good problem to have here. But this is, I'm glad to see we're on the stepping stones to say, hey, we're past the proof of does this work, and now we're saying we know it works. Let's integrate it for everybody that wants it.
Well, I think is if you've lived in Roswell for any length of time, you're very much aware that the foundation is there. And again, back to what does 4 years ago look like differently now. One of the things is districts across the state almost had a reset where they said, sometimes just good education is good education, and we don't always have to try to. There was a shift there, give or take, in the mid to late 80s through the 90s that everybody had to be this.
Sure.
And we've gone back in a good way.
Yeah.
And made it okay again to do different things. And now that that's the case, it's like, well, let's make it the best of that world. Instead of just having somebody that winds up in a job like that, why don't we prepare them for a job like that?
I mean, sometimes, too, you got to almost take things back and think it back to the bare bones essentials, like what are we doing here? And at the end of the day, when you look at it, say, look, the information's the information. We're trying to figure out a way to get this information from here into our students' heads. How do we do that? And every person's different on how they get that information. So any idea that allows that information to get into someone's head, let's put it on the table. And that's what you're seeing. And I think it goes back to your point is you can sit here and try all the tricks in the world. Sometimes it's just good old-fashioned teaching.
Right.
And that's what we have to get back down to doing sometimes.
Well, then the young lady that was speaking the other night, her comment as to her chosen, I think it was electrical, and her comment was, my teacher gets me, and I get him. And we were like, well, there you go. I mean, that's really all it takes.
And that's because once that relationship's established, then the flow of information is very easy.
It is.
That's the battle is getting that level of acceptance, understanding versus, you know what I mean? And let's face it, personalities are personalities. Some people are more boisterous. Some are more quiet and reserved, and teachers are the same way. Some are more that in your face, jazz hands, and some are a little more stand back a little bit.
Right.
But they all work. It's just, but you got to find that meld between the students receptive to that versus a student just being resistant to it. And that's really the difference between success and failure is making the connection. Either you make the connection and everything works, or you don't, you're going to be butting heads the whole time.
Right. Well, we had a really cool win that we didn't even bring up at the board meeting, but some of our local businesses have partnered with our high schools. And they've offered up and they've dedicated some of their employees to come in and teach actual classes on site. So we've got that at Roswell High right now.
Good.
And if I heard every bit of this correctly, and I think I did, we actually had a student from Roswell High legitimately go and apply for a job at this business and made it through the interview process and has been offered employment with this company. So
nice.
We've got one, I mean, and you're sitting there going, it happened.
Yeah.
And, as we've worked with the local business partners here in town and the community development and economic board, that's one of the things that they've asked is, we want your kids to come be our employees. And we're not against that. It's just, how do we get them there? And we've got one. We've got a really good test case that we can now say it worked.
It gives kids a path that let's, you and I growing up, we grew up and they said, all right, you graduate high school, you're going to college, that's the path. You go to do the thing. And that's a good path. There's nothing wrong with that path. But that path isn't everybody's path. And so, and now we're in a world where we're saying, you know what? We get it. That's not your path. You're not wanting to do college, but dang it, you're pretty good at welding, or you're pretty good at something. One of these different things that you don't necessarily need to go to college for 4 years to get a degree with. You can get it with a technical degree or another form of formal training.
Right.
But, and that's what I love about it is you're showing kids at a high school level, like, no, college is a great thing, prep it, but there are other paths to success and security in America, and here's a couple of those options if this is more your liking.
The studies have shown if I'm waiting until 9th grade, I'm way too late with these kids. So even in our school district right now, we have elementary schools that have something called AVID.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go into these schools, you'll see college pennants and banners, and one of the things that they do is they start looking and studying. Now that doesn't mean, I had a parent kind of wound up and you're predetermining, and they're in the 6th grade or the 5th grade, and you're doing this. And I said, no, because what studies also show is that by the time they get from the 6th to like the 10th grade, 11th grade, they've changed like 3-4 times. And we have that set up in our systems. We're not telling them that, boy, by the end of your 8th grade year or 7th grade year, you have to pick something and you're not going to get to change. If you take a traditional college student, even they will change 2-3 times, sometimes in their first year or two in college. And that's one of the things that we're pretty excited about, is that we can go back to our parents and say, because we already did that work with your kiddo in the prep work when it was free. So now,
when it's cheap.
now you're the one paying for the college stuff. And by the way, they now know if they change, it might just be once versus 2 or 3 times. So,
but also too is when you're doing it young and early too, this is the formative years. The kids, the personalities are being developed. Their likes and dislikes, the things that they're into and not into, are being developed. Why not at that same time are we saying, well, let's prep you for what, because you can clearly, all right, this is a creative type. Maybe the creative type's probably not the best one to be doing digging a ditch. Maybe this person needs to be in a different area because that's where their interest, what they're good at. And there's nothing wrong with we all know that. We all know our kid's going to be a whatever someday. You could see that tendencies. There's nothing wrong with kind of foster making sure that's what they want. If they look and say, well, they're going to be a football player, and it's like, well, if they don't like football, then probably not going to be a football player. But there's nothing wrong with that. So when they do get to college and they said, I want to be a doctor or be a lawyer or whatever, they're like a year into it, like, I don't want to be a lawyer anymore. I want to, I could, because literally they've been studying and kind of at least researching and saying, doing more than watching Matlock or whatever, but that's my point is we all watch our kids grow and we always like, oh, they're going to be this, or you can tell, why not develop and foster that now, so by the time they get to college, they're already on that path and probably going to be 100% better at that position because they have the passion and they've been following it for a good hunk of their life.
Well, and the plan right now is that if they have any kind of an idea that their last 2 years of high school, their junior and senior year, and this is even at Goddard and Roswell, I'll get you a couple classes that we will pick up the fee for that. Number one, that is one of the graduation requirements, is either an AP honors or a dual credit class. So if I can get you hooked in with something at our college out here that will get you quicker, faster to the end point of your degree, that, again,
let's do it.
Well, and it pays off really more for the parents. And it's interesting, too, a personal note, my 8th grader and I were talking the other day, and out of nowhere, he just starts talking about his class that's like that at Berendo, and it's a class where they study different types of fields, colleges and employments, and I stopped and I looked and I was just like, who are you? We're having a conversation about your future. And you generated that. I was like, do you still live with me? I forgot about that, but. It's just a neat.
It is.
It's a change, and it's something that I hope that parents take advantage of. But as they're recognizing some of the small wins, that's a small win that could turn dividends for them.
Absolutely.
Because then you sit down and then you start looking at this, and we had an activity last night that was your how do you study? How do you? What are your likes? What are your dislikes? What best what best describes you. And if this is you, this is probably a better way to do these things. And it had pointers, and
that's great.
Talked about careers that were probably going to be beneficial for somebody with those types of characteristics.
Yeah.
So it, like I said, if we'll take the time and just recognize the opportunity available,
absolutely,
it can only benefit them.
Yeah, because once you get the student's passion inflamed, then it's a victory. It's just a matter of pointing them in the right direction, turn them loose.
Well, and
and that's what it is.
This sounds maybe kind of pie in the sky, but our employers in town have said soft skills and, show up for work and be on time and be dressed appropriately. And so you touched on that of if you can get the kid fired up, those soft skills come pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
If they're okay to go to school in the morning because their first class is their favorite, you're not going to have a hard time getting them there on time.
Exactly.
And if the teacher says that we're in the shop today and you have to wear closed-toed shoes and you got to wear jeans, they're not going to fight that because they want to get in the shop. Or we're going to go do this and you have to wear safety glasses, or we're going to go to this particular business. And if you have facial hair, you're going to have to cover that. No earrings because it's against OSHA regulations in the this industry or that. You don't fight those things because they want to be there.
Sure.
And you're just, when it all starts to come together, you're just kind of like holding your breath going, okay, this sounds too good to be true. And we've, I've advised, my curriculum instruction head is Jennifer Cole and Ruben Bolaños and my high school principals, and they've done so much work, and I've told them, I said, man, don't forget to champion the victories as you're going along. Don't just wait for that one moment.
Yeah.
They put a ton of time in this, and they need to make sure that they're acknowledging the gains.
Absolutely. It's great. It's being that cheerleader sometimes. Sometimes you're a cheerleader, sometimes you're a coach, sometimes you're pushing. But
That's
either
right.
way, that's all you got to wear a different hat sometimes.
That's right.
And obviously your educators and stuff get all that because they see it every day. But it's great to see that now the kids are kind of jumping on board here. They're neat
to see it work.
They're seeing a point to the conversation.
Yes,
now,
sir.
And that's a good thing.
Yes, sir.
What other highlights?
You know what? We did. So I said that one. No, we did. The quick update with our strategic plan on scopes and sequence aligned to learning goals to ensure demonstrate growth in reading and math pre-K through grade 3. Basically, what that is okay. So every summer since school has started in the nth of time, we get together and say, okay, our pacing guides, how did we do? Are we on track? Are we on point?
Okay.
And what the presentation was the other night is that we're going to use the guides that have been generated by the publisher and that we're going to work with our teachers to ensure that they have what they need so that they can hit the guides. And just a quick update on that. Our school safety update and security update that we had, we didn't get real in depth because I don't like to get real specific with some of the things that have happened, but we've had a pretty good month, knock on wood, till I said that. And apologies. But also had just a moment to talk about some upcoming meetings with local law enforcement.
Okay.
Different people, Game and Fish, Livestock Bureau, just continue training.
Gotcha.
It's not we train you once and then we wait until that day and that time. Mr. LJ Harrell, who's our school security liaison head, he's just the best. I mean, there's not anybody else that's going to do this. Not what he does.
Right.
And he has reached out to these agencies to talk about, anything that has happened in the last 6 months and anything that we've done to our buildings that would help, hinder, aid, etc. to them should we have an event. So we're always going to keep our buildings, our local agencies at the forefront of information when it comes to that. So,
I can, just personally through my own wife and everything, experiences and stuff, I know law enforcement and our various agencies are active participants in our schools and things like that. I know even like when you got your schools that are technically outside of city limits or in the county, you've got sheriff's department, everyone, they're constantly checking in, monitoring, seeing things, just visiting, even just popping in to say hi, just, hey, is everything, you do that kind of stuff. And city and others are doing, seeing that more in the within the city limit schools and things like that. So it is that partnership there. And I know, like matter of fact, I did Dr. Seuss Reading Day a couple weeks ago.
Yes, sir.
And I think half the sheriff's department was there reading to kids. I was like, don't tell nobody, but this is probably a bad time to commit a crime in Roswell because they're all here reading.
The neat thing about that right there, it shows a different side to the agencies that the kids sometimes don't get. We had a day where state police, and they're a part of this as well, had gone around, and we knew they were doing it, so it wasn't a surprise. Yeah. And they ended up at Nancy Lopez Elementary School on the day that they were doing tryouts for Roswell games.
Oh, cool.
Which is elementary track and field.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know.
Like field day, if you remember back in the day as kids.
So they're standing there watching the kids, and I don't know how it happened, but the next thing I know, I'm getting a video of one of the officers racing a kid. And I just kind of stopped, and I was like, I paused because I've been advised to don't speak first, just pause. And I just kind of laughed, and I was like, that's cool.
It is.
And, I was like, I want to say so much, but I'm just going to not. And it was neat. It was neat to see it, and the kids had a great time. And so they've already planned it. They're coming back next year on the same week.
Love that.
So that they can help with that.
Love it. And that's just not, it's great for the kids. It's great for our community when you see that kind of stuff.
And I would ask too, because I think this is a good spot for this, because we always get phone calls and different things or emails. And I would ask people if you're dropping your kiddos off at a school, please try to adhere to whatever the traffic signs ask you to do.
Yes.
And it's tough. And I'm just as guilty of, the crankiness or the deep exhale, because I don't want to go that way.
Right.
And then I start looking for places to turn around, or I whip through a neighborhood probably faster than I need to. And,
yeah. But you got to be mindful.
Well, and we want to be good neighbors, and there's not a lot I can do to help with some of these things, but and just be a good just be a good steward of the property, and try to help, because the sheriffs and the police officers, they don't really want to have to issue the consequences for that. They really don't. They've got other things they need to be doing.
But they just, at the end of the day, it's all for the safety of the kids and every person that's, especially when you're drop off or pickup times at schools, that's probably the most chaotic time of the day for everybody, because you got outsiders coming in, coming out, you got school buses, you got parents, and there's got to be a flow, because the parking lots are only so big, and some are, depending on the school, some are pretty easy to get in and out, some aren't, just depending on where they're located. But to ensure that everyone can get in the parking lot, get out, oh, by the way, not kill nobody when you're trying to leave the parking lot, because everyone's trying to leave and come in at the same time. That's why it's in place. So I get it. It may not be the most convenient for you, but to make sure your kid and you get to come in, get out, and go home safely, this is the best way to do that.
Well, and I tell you what, if you're not normally a person that goes and picks up a student in the district, if that happens to be you on a day, just go with the flow.
Yes.
Don't try to critique it.
Yeah. Matter of fact,
just go with the flow.
Play the dumb dad or dumb mom. I don't care. Roll down the window and say, I normally the other one picks up the kid. Where am I going? And they'll be happy to. Most of them will be happy as long as you're nice about it.
You bet. Two other pretty big items that were on the agenda the other night. We had a couple action items, and one was the fiscal year financial audit report. So auditors came in and presented a quick presentation on the financial status of the RISD. Phenomenal, and a true credit to the business department for Roswell Schools. Minimal. I think we might have had two small things that were of no substance. And when you're talking about student activities and fundraising accounts and
that's pretty
athletics impressive. And an influx of federal dollars for COVID money, what a testament to the people that oversee that. So hats off to our business department.
A lot of money coming from a lot of different places, and a lot of it's earmarked for specific things that you can't. And so you have to be meticulous about that. Even if you accidentally use money that was funded for one thing for something else, you can get in trouble for that. So for them to stay on top of that with little to no error, yes, that is a tip of the cap.
Well, one of the ones that will usually get us is a 24-hour deposit. So if we get something, we have 24 hours to deposit. And where you would get popped on that is if somebody writes a check and it's dated a particular date, and then your deposit date is not does not accurately show the 24 hours.
Right.
And we've talked with teachers and kids. Mom and dad give you a check and you've got it in your bag or your book, and you don't. Your student doesn't give it to the teacher for 3 or 4 days, and the teacher does it right. And so, like I said, it just a great feather in the hat for our district and for the people that work so hard up there to keep us in great standing.
Absolutely. I can remember myself as a kid leaving a check in book bag for a week, and I was supposed to give it. Mom's yelling at me because it hasn't been cashed yet. Yeah, yep. I've been there, done that T-shirt.
Absolutely. The other item that I wanted just real quick to talk about, and it was front page of the paper today, was an RFP for an HVAC project at central office.
Okay.
And it's basically the old building, what I would call Pueblo.
Yeah.
And we're going to use federal, ARP money for putting in heating and cooling, central heating and cooling in the old building. Right now we're operating off of radiant heaters in the old stovepipe.
They're cool looking for the nostalgic purposes.
But boy, they're
not very functional.
They don't work very well. So we did have a little bit of discussion as far as another project that had been proposed, and it's one that we're going to get going. For whatever reason, the Mountain View Middle School has had some issues with the air conditioners on their gymnasium. When they redid the gymnasium at Mountain View, actually built a brand new one, they put swamp coolers on it. And so we've been fighting with, okay, do we fix them? Do we update them? Do we put a new system on there? What are we looking at? And so when we started looking at the system, about the time that the money started coming in, here come all the vendors. And you're having to be careful. And so our local in-town people are phenomenal. But they're not the only ones that want to come and do things. And so we had what we're going to call a potential quote that did not meet our standards. We need to look at that again.
Gotcha.
We need to do our diligence and we'll see if we can't get Mountain View taken care of.
Sure.
And it's not an issue where we want to do this and not this. So we'll work on that.
But at the same time, you want to do it right. And
we do.
And not just throw money at something that we probably didn't have to do it that way. So.
Correct.
Yeah.
And again, it's a big project, and there's both of them I feel are needed. They're warranted. We're just going to have to do a little bit of work and see if we can't figure out how to pull that off, make it jive with the people that we need to get it through. Take about a year there at central office to get that done.
Okay. And
when we're done, one of the neat things that we're going to be able to do is we'll have better use of our auditorium. So we're right now where it's not a bad time right now, but if you were to fill it up in the middle of the winter and everybody's got heavy coats and different things, I mean, it's going to get stuffy.
A little gamey.
And if it's not, you're looking at, hey, we want to use that Saturday, so we're going to still turn it on today. And now we're wasting energy because we're having to get it either to heat it or cool to a particular temperature. The new system will have it where we could actually go, hey, we need that in now.
Okay.
And you could go and set a button, flip a switch, and be
Works
able
more
to,
like your house or something.
It is,
nice.
And if you haven't been down any of those halls, every one of those doors is closed, because every one of those rooms has its own either a window unit or whatever. So like I said, if you're not in favor of the project, what I'm saying is not going to matter.
Right.
But if you're in favor of the project, then this all kind of plays in, and we have a kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity to fix that building, and we want to go ahead and take it.
Good deal. So, but we're going to the drawing board here on how to get it done and all that good stuff.
Well,
at least for
Mountain View.
At
right.
least.
That's my big one. Okay. We're not just going to forget that project. We've got to figure out how to do it right.
Sure. But we got 2 irons in the fire now.
I tell you what.
Well, about 20, but I mean, in this particular, we're working on the admin, and we're also working on the other one.
Well, we're finishing Mesa. We are getting in the design phase for Nancy Lopez, and then we will move on to next building after that. So all of these things have already gone through.
Sure.
They have already gone through the process with Public School Finance Authority, and there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes.
Yep. It's good though. It's
great.
It is, because I when I first moved here 20 years ago, these schools were way ancient, when I say 20, it's been longer than that, 25 now. But there's been a lot of catch up over the last 20 years on these schools. And
thank you, Mike Gottlieb. Thank you every board that has served in the last 25 years for having the visions to utilize whatever resources we can to get our schools back up to acceptable standards.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. Well, thank you, sir. As always,
Absolutely.
appreciate the visit. Thanks for accommodating here on the schedule and all
Absolutely.
that. And we'll see you here next month.
Yes, sir.
Different time, though, because we got to adjust that. But
Yes, sir.
All right, so 7:58. Let's do a quick news update, quick break before, more news. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Now for a Pecos Valley news update, I'm Jared Cirillo. The Artesia Aquatic Center has appointed Todd Pfizer as the new general manager. Pfizer spent 24 years as a rescue swimmer and water survival instructor for the U.S. Navy. He then became an aquatics director and manager at other similar facilities, most recently serving in Roswell as the aquatics manager. The Artesia Aquatic Center opened in 2019. It features an outdoor pool in the shape of the Bulldog logo and other recreational activities. Indoors, there is an 8-lane, 25-yard competition pool and a 3-lane, 60-foot training pool. Legislation to ban prescribed burns from being started when a high wind warning is in place is now headed to the governor's desk. Senate Bill 21 cleared its last legislative hurdle Tuesday when it first passed the New Mexico House by a unanimous vote and then went back to the Senate, where Tuesday night that chamber agreed to an amendment tacked on by the House Energy, Environment, and Natural Resources Committee. The bill had previously passed the Senate unanimously as well. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo.
This country can sure be windy in the springtime, and we all know the best thing about wind is when it stops. Well, your friends at Roswell Ford can't do anything about the wind, but we can sure help you find the right car or truck. Roswell Ford has the biggest selection of nice pre-owned vehicles in southeastern New Mexico, each one carefully inspected and backed with a 3-day money-back guarantee. We also have brand new Fords arriving almost every day, so you'll want to check with us frequently to be sure you don't miss something. And when your vehicle needs service, remember that Roswell Ford offers free pickup and delivery, so you don't have to get out in the wind. Or the Roswell Ford mobile service van can come to you and take care of most routine maintenance at your house or where you work. So whether you're shopping for a new vehicle or taking care of the one you have, you can't do better than Roswell Ford, the tailgate nation, at the corner of 9th and Main. Come see us, but remember to hang on to your hat and don't let that car door get away from you.
At levels not seen in decades. SRN News and our companion network Town Hall News, working with the nonprofit international relief organization Food for the Poor to rush desperately needed food to children in the region. CEO Ed Rain says conditions on the ground are almost beyond relief.
You know, you just see people trying to dig everything up. We time and time again, we see kids digging through garbage, trying to find something to eat. It's so desperate that you have to witness it firsthand to really understand how desperate it is. It is so widespread.
Ed Rain adds that as hunger spreads, it is children who suffer most. More information on the emergency efforts of Food for the Poor is available on srnnews.com. Unemployment applications tumbled by 20,000 last week, falling to 192,000 from 212,000 the week before. And watching Wall Street, the Dow is down 161 points, while the NASDAQ trading 16 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Financial Group. Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
North Korea has fired off another intercontinental ballistic missile, while to the south,
the U.S. and South Korea are conducting joint military exercises. Here, putting together a floating bridge across a river.
It's just one small piece of the wet gap crossing operation.
Captain Sean Kisperson.
We look forward to continuing to train together and building the relationship between the U.S. and the Korean forces. We'll remain ready to fight tonight. Kachi Kapshida.
The maneuvers have roiled Pyongyang, calling them a rehearsal for invasion. The launch was North Korea's first ICBM test in a month and third weapons test this week. It also came hours before the leaders of South Korea and Japan were to meet in Tokyo. I'm Ben Thomas.
Israeli protesters holding more demonstrations over a plan to overhaul the judiciary. The protests come after Prime Minister Netanyahu rejected a compromise proposal aimed at diffusing a crisis. News and analysis, townhall.com. Conservative Republicans in Kansas hope to earmark state education dollars to help parents pay private school tuition.
The Kansas House on Tuesday approved 64 to 61, a bill that would give thousands of parents $5,150 for each child they want to move into home or private schools starting in the 2024-25 school year. Last month, the Kansas Senate voted 22 to 16 to approve a bill that would expand an existing program, providing income tax credits to donors who contribute to private school scholarship funds. Neither proposal had the two-thirds majority necessary to override an expected veto from Democratic Governor Laura Kelly. Keith Peters reporting.
Amtrak will be resuming service connecting New York City and Montreal. The service to resume next month, more than 2 years after the coronavirus pandemic halted trains from crossing the U.S.-Canadian border. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel witch said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican world radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2.
The Deuce.
Of Mornings with Mike Winters. Right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Swear to goodness, I thought that was George Carlin for a second. I'm like, but he's dead.
Stormy Daniels looking rough.
Yeah.
That's what I said when I looked up.
True.
They're doing we got the Fox app on, and they're talking about Stormy Daniels going to meet with the prosecutor about Trump.
Yeah.
But the guy's interviewing some law professor.
He's an old Jewish man.
He's an old wooden ship. But the headline said Stormy Daniels. I'm like, wow, Stormy Daniels. Man, I hadn't seen her in a while, but
she's let herself go. I mean, patchwork beard, the balding.
Yeah, it's rough. The deep voice. But happy Wednesday.
Really resembles Mike Ehrmantraut now.
Yeah, this is why we're idiots. But Like you needed to be told that.
I don't know. It's what the people in the box said.
Oh, man. Well, happy Wednesday. Hope all of you are having a wonderful day so far. Kind of feels cloudy out a little bit, but I like
nice.
it. I dig it.
It's just so. You know what I'm saying? It's temperate weather.
Mm-hmm. It's I like it. Makes me happy inside. But anyway, we'll get some wind and maybe some rain. Hopefully, knock on wood. A lot of wood knocking today. We need some rain today, so hopefully we get some of that over the next couple days. Don't get too excited though.
No.
So just saying.
Yeah.
So like I was talking yesterday about my TV. You know, I'm kind of in the middle of all of these things.
You're on a TV island?
Well, now I'm going to be really in trouble.
Okay.
Because the March Madness NCAA tournament starting. Mm-hmm. So, yes, my wife and I watch TV like we're 80. I know this. This is what we do.
So your regularly scheduled programming is going to be interrupted.
A lot of it's going to be, it's like, what do we watch tonight? Oh, our normal thing. No, tonight
is Big Brother on yet?
No.
Okay, well that's
Survivor is though.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It was on last night. I didn't watch it, but it was on last night.
Did you know that an entire season of South Park has come and gone?
Has it?
I had no idea until I saw a commercial for it like a couple days ago for the season finale. I'm like, wait, what?
Well, and I know they're also doing Beavis and Butthead, Mike Judge's. It's what's called Mike Judge's Beavis and Butthead on Comedy Central now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Comedy Central picked it up.
Nice.
I'm not sure if it's brand new or the Amazon Prime,
The
Paramount
reboot.
Plus, whatever it is. Not Amazon, Paramount Plus. Version. I'm not sure. I haven't
think
watched.
That would make sense because I think Paramount has access to all the Viacom stuff. I'm pretty sure that's where that's all at. So
yeah, but I know Comedy
stuff.
Central now carries Beavis and Butthead.
Okay.
And they carry prime time, like, Comedy Central prime time. But, so now I'm really kind of in trouble there.
Well, I mean, this gives you a chance to kind of broaden your horizons. There's a whole world of programming out there that you can explore and dive into.
Yeah. I think our guest might be here, Roy. I heard the phone ringing. I don't know if he was here or not.
I thought he was down
I just saw him in the other room there. Oh, there we go. They made it. Maybe he let him in already.
There we go.
Very good. So our guest is here. But let me, what was I going to say? I was talking about the movies and all that. But yeah, now I'm out of luck. I think I have to get my wife into a new series on Netflix. I got to find something that she and I can both enjoy.
Okay.
Something, because I'm covered. I got all kind of stuff I can watch.
Sure.
But she's not into the same thing.
If I could make a recommendation, this is something that I've been doing with my best friend. We tend to. This is how I spend most of my lunches. We've been working our way through the libraries of different stand-up comedians on Netflix.
Okay.
Like there's a bunch of comics who have 3-4 specials on Netflix. I'm talking like Eliza Schlesinger, Nate Bargatze.
Okay.
Is another good one. John Mulaney.
Okay.
I mean those are great. Just to pass some time.
Okay.
Feel like something that's more passive.
She'll put up with that for a bit, and then she's not into stand-up comics like
no.
She'll sit through Chris Rock or something big, but if it's someone that's not a tent pole, fill up a 20,000 seat arena.
I gotta say, by the way, I watched Chris Rock's.
Oh, did you find it?
Yeah, I finally watched it. And, it was okay.
It was all right.
It was okay.
There was some funny, like. Put
it this way: I had more like actual laugh out loud moments watching a John Mulaney special than I did watching Chris Rock.
I would argue it was more like, oh no, he didn't.
Right. It was more for the. And that's kind of how Chris Rock always has worked in that realm of the shock.
Sure. Yeah, and that's, in terms of, oh, no, he didn't, it was a 10. But yeah, how am I going to say this without people get mad? But there is a level of common sense to his comedy. Like, he says things that what normal people think.
Right.
and the extremes get so loud when he it's no different than Chappelle. Chappelle just tells you what most normal people are thinking,
right?
And people that aren't of that ilk don't like it and get mad. And And that's all it is to it. And they call him out, and that's what Chris Rock did on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, could you not agree that Will Smith and Jada Pinkett thing's not a mental health soup sandwich? Yeah, that's all he pretty much called it what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry if that's the truth. That whole Meghan Markle miss, he called that nonsense out for what it was, too.
Which is actually funny because that's the whole arc I missed on South Park this season is apparently it's Meghan Markle and Prince Harry going on their We Want Privacy world tour. Where they're going to every country and all.
But we want you to pay for it.
Telling us that they want us to leave them alone.
You can have it anytime you want. Stop accepting money from the royal family. Go get a job and do your life.
Simple as that. Don't get no easier.
Yeah. Stop taking that free stipend you get. And then we'll talk.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I never got offered to live in Tyler Perry's house.
They are the richest bums on the planet.
It's true.
Jet-setting bums. That's at the end of the day, that's kind of what's going on there.
On holiday.
I think, is it Juanita? I think it's Juanita here from Public Affairs Office, joining us from for the city of Roswell. Juanita Jennings. I think it's who came in. I don't think it's Sarah. Is it Sarah or is it? It's Juanita. Okay, I couldn't tell from the reflection if it was Sarah or Juanita coming in, but Juanita Jennings is joining us here from the city of Roswell in just a few minutes. Good morning, and then later on this hour we'll get you up to date with news and all that stuff. But before we do any of that, let's get you up to date on the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. A few isolated showers around our area today with low pressure moving to our north and a cold front dropping through. Wind will be gusty and our afternoon high in the upper 60s. A few rain or snow showers overnight, getting pretty cold. Our low in the low 30s, and then tomorrow maybe an early snow shower. Clearing up in the afternoon and we'll hit about 50. Some clouds and a few showers over the weekend. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 57 here in Roswell. Humidity is at 51%. Winds currently out of the southwest at 5 miles per hour. We do have a 20%. Now, remember earlier in the week, and this is what kind of gets me a little salty. Beginning of the week, we were talking, they were like, oh, yeah, we're going to get like 40% chance of rain Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We're going to give all this moisture. And I'm like, yay. And then I said, wait till we get to like Wednesday, Thursday, they're going to start tampering down. And yeah. 20%. Remember that 40%? Now it's down to 20, and it's mostly wind. 69 for a high today. But, yeah, we do have a 20% chance like after 4 today. Mostly sunny for the most part. Winds will be breezy, though, out of the southwest. 10 to 15 early, 20 to 25, gusting as high as 35 miles per hour later this afternoon. We are looking at a 30% chance of some moisture this evening in the form of rain. Before 1 a.m., then a rain-snow mix after that. Mostly cloudy with an overnight low of 33. Winds will remain breezy out of the north, 20 to 25, gusting as high as 30 miles per hour. We'll see those winds drop down 10 to 15 after midnight tonight. Friday, early, there's a slight chance of some snow showers like before 7. But for the day, mostly cloudy, high of 52, so a lot cooler tomorrow. Winds out of the northeast, 10 to 15 miles per hour. Cloudy tomorrow night with an overnight low of 34. Winds out of the southeast, 5 to 10. Saturday, another day, we're supposed to get all this moisture and all that. During the day, they don't even talk of moisture now. Mostly cloudy, high of 50 with southeast winds 5 to 10. Now, Saturday night and Sunday, a little bit different. 20% chance of rain showers tomorrow, Saturday night. Then a mix of snow and rain after 1 a.m. Mostly cloudy with an overnight low of 52. 30% chance of rain on Sunday. Rain and snow mix before 1, then just rain after that. Mostly cloudy, high of only 49. And then 30% chance of rain and then rain snow mix Sunday night. And then Monday, a 30% of some snow showers early. Then changing over to rain, high of 60. So we'll see. I mean, but it's down to like 20, 30%, not 40, 50 like earlier. So, we'll probably have it'll rain for a half hour and then real hard and then go away. All right, it is 8:17. Let's take a 3.5-minute commercial break, and then Juanita Jennings will join us from the city of Roswell on the other side. Don't go away.
Get lucky all month long at Roswell Nissan. With a lot stocked with great new and pre-owned vehicles, and with zero down on nearly every vehicle, you'll save a pot of gold. Like a 2016 Ford F-350, zero down, just $439 a month. Or a 2021 Nissan Versa, zero down, just $221 a month. How about a 2014 Toyota Camry, zero down and only $189 a month? And if that's not enough, does no payments for 90 days sweeten the pot? Come save a little extra green during the Luck of the Irish sales event at Roswell Nissan, 2111 West 2nd.
Today we're going to give you the 5th key to a great marriage, taken from Drs. Les and Leslie Perot. Hi, this is Pastor Troy and Julie Smotherman for The Joy of Marriage. The 5th key is commitment, living the love you promised.
Galatians 6:9 says, "And let us not get tired of doing what is right, for after a while we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't get discouraged and give up." You know, one of the keys to commitment is just deciding in your heart, I'm never giving up on God, I'm never giving up on my marriage, I'm never giving up on my family.
Commitment is a promise made and kept by two imperfect people. It's good for our kids to see that problems happen and we're committed to solving them together.
If you want all 5 keys to a great marriage, you can go to our website at jomconference.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Keon at Carabelli Dental. Same-day smiles are what we do. My passion is helping patients chew, talk, and live with confidence. That's why I'm one of the few doctors in the U.S. who can create beautiful same-day smiles with the latest digital implant technology. This procedure is life-changing. Just ask Sean.
Hi, I'm Sean. I've been that voice that you've heard on the radio for most of my life, but I'm also a dad to 2 amazing kids. I've had a million reasons to smile, but in all my old pictures, I was never smiling. Truth is that life of improper care and being dealt a bad hand genetically left me practically with no teeth. It affected everything from the way I ate, the way I talked, and of course how I interacted with people. And that's where Dr. Keon and Carabelli stepped in. They eased my fears. They explained every step of the process in a way that I could understand, and they made me feel almost like I was part of the team. And now I can't stop smiling. I have so much more confidence, and I love looking in the mirror now. I can't explain how much of a difference Dr. Keon's dental implant process made for me.
Our team can help you find your smile too. Come see us at Carabelli Dental, 575-622-4455.
Need new windows for your home? Beware of the sales gangster. Jennifer from Trustmark Roofing and Windows here. A sales gangster is a window salesperson with the mobster mentality. They intimidate, bully, and fast talk you into buying their less than quality windows during a 3-hour pitch. Think I'm kidding? Call a few window companies and see for yourself. Or you can skip the sales gangsters and call Trustmark. We have fair, no-nonsense pricing on our premium windows, and our appointments take only about 60 to 75 minutes. Just long enough to listen to what you need, show you your options, answer your questions, and give you a straightforward quote. Then it's up to you. We can take a no just as easy as a yes, but I'll guarantee you this: no sales gangsters. Sound fair? Call Trustmark Roofing and Windows for your no-obligation spring window assessment. 575-755-7663 or visit TrustmarkRoofPros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. The ball on top of a flagpole is called a truck. Mess with your friends today by pointing at a flagpole and say, "Hey, check out the truck on top of that flagpole." Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 21 minutes after 8 o'clock. And joining us in studio this morning from the City of Roswell, Public Affairs Director Juanita Jennings back with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Yeah.
It's spring. Lots of things going on. It seems like every weekend, if it's not at the museum, it's at the zoo or it's at the recreation center. There always seems to be some activities, events directly through the city almost every weekend right now.
Wait till April. It's every single weekend. And on April 8th, there's like 3 events happening. So it's a busy weekend for us.
Good.
For sure.
So again,
lots of activities.
I seem to say this a lot on this show, but if you're that group that says there's nothing to do in Roswell, I say you are not trying very hard to look. because there is a bevy of things going on.
Oh, absolutely. Check out our calendar of events. It's on our website at the government site, which is roswell-nm.gov. But it's also on our tourism site, which is croswell.com.
Yeah.
And so if you have an event, if you're a local organization or business, you can submit either to the government site or to the tourism site for free. You submit a 250 by 250 image in a JPEG format.
Okay.
And then 250 words to describe your event, along with date, time, location, and how they can get tickets if there is a fee, and a URL. And we post that for you for free.
Nice. Very good. So take advantage of that. And of course, for I know we do have a lot of, it is tourist kind of a season right now.
Oh,
and
yes.
so we have a lot of out of town folks coming in. Don't forget about the See Roswell app. If you're a local or if you're just visiting us right now and you happen to be hearing, go ahead and download that sucker. It's free.
Yes.
And with that, you can kind of get plugged into everything going on as far as not only just the city and that side, but restaurants and various amenities and things that are available to you here. If restaurants have deals and things going on, they can post it to the app, and you get kind of first knowledge of that when you open your app, or you get notifications from that app here. So if you haven't done that, go ahead and download the See Roswell app. It's in your Apple or Android or wherever you get your apps at, and download it and give it a try. If you want to check out the scooters and all that, there's a link for doing all that in the app as well too. So it's kind of if you're going to be out bopping around town and sightseeing or just shopping and things, it might be behoove you to download that and see if it can kind of add to your adventures.
Yes. And if you're a local business and you have a social media page, it's really important that you're updating that every week. On our app, that we have an algorithm that pulls that content for this geographic location. And then we generate content for our social media page for the tourism site that will post about your business.
Nice.
As long as you're keeping it up to date.
Sure. That's the key in the cog. You got to otherwise you're going to be feeding out the same old information you put up there originally or the last time you did it.
Exactly. So. And so that's our job, especially at the visitor center. This is one of our busiest weeks. Texas spring break is here. And so we're trying to move those people around the city, get them into your businesses and shop. So
absolutely. So if you are particularly in the downtown area, it's probably going to be a little bit, especially, it's always busy during lunch hour and rush hour and those things. But you're going to see a lot more foot traffic, a lot more stuff this week downtown.
Yes.
You probably already have. It's Thursday if you're just now figuring it out. But that'll probably for the next couple weeks, really, because Texas this week, you'll start seeing some New Mexico folks next week and things like that. And I imagine, I don't know in Arizona and all that, but I imagine you might even see a few of those coming from in town.
Colorado.
Colorado. So, but that's the whole point. So if you happen to be downtown and someone asks you a question or where's a good place to eat or whatever, talk to them. Tell them what you like and be a good ambassador to our community. That's how they get them to come back and keep shopping and staying in our hotels and eating at our restaurants and shopping in our stores and visiting our places and contributing to our gross receipts.
There you go.
At the end of the day.
Yes, absolutely. And for locals, so next week, great segue, is spring break for the Independent School District and our community. And so we have a couple of spring break camps happening.
Good deal. Usually the library's got stuff planned and aquatic recreation center.
So we have our big one is at the Spring River Zoo.
Okay.
We had to break it up just because of the animals and the learning capacity of our students.
Sure.
So we have ages 4 to 6 starting Monday and Tuesday. They're going to learn about birds and reptiles.
Okay.
And so if you have a child who is in that age range from 4 to 6 years old, and you want to sign them up for a camp, get them out of the house, give them something to do, get in
enrichment.
In nature enrichment, sign them up. Go to roswellconnect.com. And then if you have kids age 7 to 12, starting on Wednesday through Friday, they will have their camp and they're going to learn about conservation. They will become a junior zookeeper. Okay. Because they're a little bit older, we can actually take them a little bit more behind the scenes with the animals. And so
maybe get little projects, get in the dirt a little bit and all that. Yeah, get with the animals.
Absolutely. And then our zoo campers, they do get a free t-shirt as part of being in the camp. And all of the money from the camp goes right back into the zoo.
Good deal.
If you need something for the kids to do, please sign them up at roswellconnect.com.
And of course, for most folks, as you know, they've been constantly updating and adding and rehabbing the various animal enclosures and things like that. That's spent a lot of time working with the lions and I think the bear facility there
and the foxes.
And the foxes.
The fox den just got done a couple months ago.
Had an elk they had to figure out how to keep within the parameters of
yes, that little elk Alexis.
So that's where your money's going, is to those projects and keeping those animals, because at the end of the day, it's some of those animals there at the zoo, they're rescue animals. They're these are animals that were caught because they were injured or something like that, and they really can't be back in wild. So now they're home to Roswell at the zoo here,
and we have some new animals too. So if you haven't been to the zoo lately, we have they're called kikachus.
Okay,
and so they look like it's a larger squirrel.
Okay,
with bat-like ears and a very long tongue.
Okay.
They like to crawl on you and jump,
okay.
Which is a little...
As long as they keep that tongue.
As long as they keep that tongue in their mouth, right? They don't do that, but they are the cutest. They're preparing them for the school when we go out to the schools and teach about what they eat and where do they live and things like that. But
so getting them used to humans and things.
They are an educational animal, and there's 2 of them, and they're super cute. So if you get a chance, come on out.
Yeah.
And then we have a new little baby pig.
Oh, cool.
And her name is Charlotte.
Ah.
So, yeah. Like Kevin Bacon has a sister now, and they are just adorable. And again, both for educational opportunities.
Can we find a spider to call home for Charlotte?
For Charlotte, yes.
Because Charlotte needs a web.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. She definitely loves to eat, and she loves to play in the mud.
Well,
I will
she's
say
a
that.
pig.
Yes, the mud. She loves to get dirty, and she's tiny. She's like probably this big. I mean, obviously she will get bigger.
She's going to grow. Is she going to be like the big hog size or whatever?
She'll be like Kevin. So if you want to see her in her small petite size, come check her out.
She's
cool. There, and she's in her exhibit and doing great. And her and Kevin are getting along, so that's wonderful too.
Squeals of delight.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So if you don't want to do camp, but you need something to do next week, bring your kids on out.
Yeah.
Pack a picnic. Enjoy and come and visit the Spring River
absolutely.
Zoo.
Come out. There's plenty of great open ground with trees and park benches and things for you to picnic or just enjoy the outdoors, and then stroll around, walk around the zoo, and walk around the park out there and have a good. I don't know. Is the merry-go-round or train, any of that?
The train is not currently working, and the carousel is being fixed right now. So we're hoping that carousel is really old.
It is an antique. It is a collector's item. It's probably one of the most valuable things out on that property is probably that carousel. I'm guessing, just in terms of value and coveted. Like if we ever said we don't want it anymore, I'm sure there'd be a lot of people that would pay some major coin to.
We want it though.
We
want it.
We're not getting rid of it.
But
I'm just saying, it would be an asset that's got some value to it. So,
absolutely.
But that being said, it is old and fickle. So sometimes the parts and things for it aren't readily available in 2023 now.
And that is the case right now. They're actually thinking of how they can manufacture the part, because the part isn't available. So they talked about maybe doing a 3D.
A printer of
trying to figure that part out.
I mean, we get the college involved. They got some of that kind of stuff up there.
So we're working on it.
Good deal. Well, that's cool. Good deal.
So spring break camp, and then if you don't want to come to camp, just come out and visit us. We also have another camp at the Roswell Recreation Center next week as well, Monday through Friday. That one is all ages.
Okay.
So come on out.
Good deal. And I imagine it's going to be sports related on that one.
Yeah. So that one will be sports and nature. So they'll be taking them out to the nature walk, doing like a little trail. They'll be doing like volleyball, indoor soccer, dodgeball, things like that.
Good deal.
And then with both camps, they get snacks and lunches provided.
Nice.
So yeah.
All I can say is
$30 to $55 for
parents. They should be good and tired by the time their day's done.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's the key. Especially you're like, you got a lot of energy. Send them to the recreation center. They'll wear them out.
Absolutely.
But so spring, and I know the library has events all week long planned too.
Yes.
If you go to the library, you can pick up the actual calendar at the front desk and put it on your refrigerator if you like to go old school. But like and follow their Facebook page. You can kind of keep up to date on everything there. And of course, they do have a tab on the main city's website to
Yep.
go to the library, and you can see everything they have got all available.
And then
there
we
too.
have another opportunity if you have those creative kids that love art. We have the Roswell Museum. So again, lots of different activities next week while your kids are on spring break. If you're staying local, please take advantage of those city services that are available to you.
Absolutely, and like I said, and a lot of them are very either cheap or free, just depending, on the particular activities you go to.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
And then by the way, if you just regular plain old want to come out and do your workouts at the aquatic center, or go just walk the zoo, or go and walk the just do it. You don't need to have a class to do that. Just go do it. So-
Yeah, and we have new equipment at the adult center, so fitness equipment. We thankful for our grant funding that we got from the state legislature. Brand new equipment, ellipticals, rowing. What do you call those things? Like the treadmills and the bikes.
Yeah,
all of those are all brand spanking new, and so
good deal. So give them a try.
Give them a try. Come on in.
While we're talking about that, any update on pool stuff?
Yeah, so pool, they're still working on the indoor pool.
Okay.
The part was in, the people were there this week working on it. And then we are hoping to open the outdoor pool on April 4th.
I knew you guys were...
Which would be a month earlier than normal. So we're...
Hopefully weather is allowing of that.
Well, yes, weather always, but I think it will be okay. Usually it's pretty warm here.
In New Mexico, it's usually 90 by then.
Yeah, right? You never know. But hopefully we'll have that. And then all of our programming that we had in the indoor pool, we'll just move that to the outdoor pool during the day. And then, of course, regular season for the outdoor pool. Of course, we have to pass our inspections and things like that.
Sure.
But should be all good to go.
Good deal. So, as far as that indoor pool goes, the part and everything, is this something that we'll be able to see again this season, or is it going to be a little longer than that?
I'm not sure right now.
Okay.
I would not know, and I don't want to say.
Gotcha. I understand.
Because I don't know.
I just didn't know. It's like, we got a part order. Maybe that kind of gives us a bit of timeline now, but still up in the air.
Yes.
Okay.
Not quite sure, but definitely the outdoor pool. That's our goal, is to have it open by April 4th.
Very good.
And we'll be hopefully doing an aqua egg hunt on April 8th. So we put all the little Easter eggs and have the Easter bunny come out and do that.
A little fun Easter weekend out at the pool there.
Yes.
So,
We've got a fun Easter weekend for the whole city of Roswell. So that April 8th date is really busy. It is our second Saturday at the Roswell Museum. Which is
so they'll
free.
have their annual or their monthly free event
Yes.
there. Yeah.
Then we have it's Earth Day, and we're doing an Arbor Day giveaway. So we're kind of combining that. That's going to be at the Roswell Zoo.
Okay.
So at Spring River Zoo. And then the zoo's also doing that same morning as Earth Day. Come get your seedlings, get your tree.
Okay.
If you have kids, bring them and they can participate in what we're calling Kid Stampede.
Okay.
And so it's a really fun run. You're going to slither like a snake. You're going to hop like the lemurs. You're going to run fast like the mountain lion. Those kind of things. It's $10.50 to participate.
Okay.
And that $10.50 really is to get you a free a t-shirt.
Gotcha.
That's what it's for. So come out. Support the zoo. Every time you come to the zoo, the money that you're giving goes directly back into the zoo.
Yeah, if you love the zoo and love and care for the animals and all that, the real way is support it. Come out to it, participate in the events, become a friend. If you got time and really want to get involved. The Friends of the Spring River Zoo can always use more volunteers.
Yes.
They do. They help raise awareness, raise funds for the zoo, but they also. When some of the projects and things that go on there, when they need brute force and labor to help all that happen, it's the Friends of the Zoo that come out. And so if you like getting a little behind the scenes of the zoo and little exclusive access to things that normally the public doesn't get to, as a friend, you get to do some of that.
Yeah, we're so grateful to the Friends. They actually are the ones who funded our little Kikachus, our new little animals that we have. And they have a big fundraising event that's coming up in April as well. Called Brew at the Zoo.
Yeah, that's our annual event. So we come out under that.
Coming back.
And of course, that'd be a great event. By the way, just know from personal experience.
I know what you're going to say.
The DD gets it pretty sweet on that deal. You get all kinds of free sodas and drinks or whatever you're into, and food, and because we appreciate you being sober to get everybody home.
Yes.
So they hook up. So if you do draw the straw to be the DD, it's not a bad gig. You get treated with royalty status.
Yes, absolutely. And they sell out. So
yeah, they do sell quick. So as soon as you get the tickets, They do, and I don't have all the details and specifics yet, but we'll get all that as we get a little closer to the event and all that.
Yeah.
Too, so
it's about a month away.
Yeah, it is. So, and I'm sure we'll have the friends on here at some point kind of promoting that too.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely.
Good deal. What else we got to cover?
The only other thing that we have is UFO Festival. So that is, we're almost about 100 days away. And so we're moving fast and furious.
June will be here. End of June, July will be here before you know it.
Yes. So we are wrapping up our vendor spaces. So we have vendor spaces at Pioneer Plaza and then at the Convention Center.
Okay.
Don't have very many left. So if you would like to have a booth or have a space or would like to sponsor the event, please contact us at 575-624-6700 and ask for TJ. We will be more than happy to put you on the map and get you going.
Yeah, I know. UFO Festival. They listened to a lot of the people's suggestions and things that people had, and so I know, like for this year's festival, they're going to close the main street downtown here again. That was something that people really wanted. So you're going to some of the things that people asked for, you're going to see back at this year's UFO Festival. So make sure if you come on out for that too. So I know like your Main Street vendors and stuff were kind of like, hey, we liked closing down the road and having a bunch of
Some did, some didn't. I mean,
it was kind of a mixed bag.
Kind of a mixed bag.
Okay.
And those vendors are actually going through Main Street. So if you want to be on the actual street, please
talk
contact
to them.
Please contact Main Street. But if you'd like to be in Pioneer Plaza or at the Convention Center,
then they talk to you guys.
They would talk to us. Yes.
Perfect. So it's all about location.
Absolutely.
Of course, that weekend everything's busy.
Everything is busy, and that's the beauty of it. We're all working together to promote the city as a whole.
Absolutely.
Which is really great. And there's going to be activities going on at the Spring River Zoo. There's going to be activities at Cielo Grande. We're partnering with the Roswell Daily Record for our night sky event with Ben Hansen. We're going to be doing the alien crawl again. Alien chase tickets go on sale. The planetarium and the museum, they're going to have their crazy hair salon all weekend. Their laser shows. The symphony is partnering with the museum to do a concert.
Oh, cool.
And so there's just so many activities.
So it's really an all city. That's kind of been the goal. Like, we always kind of had it to the downtown and then we kind of spread it out, but then it feels like it left a little here. And now it's like everywhere.
Everywhere.
It's going to be the Main Street downtown corridor is going to be packed. Parts outside of that, the golf courses, everything else we'll have.
There'll be a golf tournament that weekend. And that's the beauty of the festival, right? We are trying to showcase everything in our city that we have available, and we have so many great things.
Sure.
So it's going to be really fun. Check out the website, ufofestival.com. That's where all the information is. And then, of course, if you'd like to be a vendor or sponsor, please give us a call.
Yeah. And volunteers, too. I know the city, Main Street, all of them can use extra volunteers to help with the logistics of that weekend, making sure chairs get where they're supposed to be, water stations are set up, information is readily available to anyone that wants it. They need tons of volunteers through the city and through Main Street, so reach out to both entities and say, hey, can I help volunteer? And they'll be like, we'll get you a shirt, we'll get you everything you need to do, and maybe it's manning one of the booths at the kind of the courthouse lawns kind of turns into the main information center for a lot of UFO Festival. I know Main Street City, they set up their things there. Of course, they got across the street the visitor center, kind of as a big hub there too. But they need volunteers just being there to answer questions sometimes, and so that's what they need. So
we'll have our food court at the Pioneer Plaza. We're going to have aerialists this year, which is new. And then we'll also have 2 drone shows this year. Last year we only had 1. So this year we'll have them both on Friday and Saturday, which is really fun.
And I think what's going to happen is drone show last year there was a lot of people didn't know what a drone show was.
Right.
You know what I mean? They kinda, and so they may have heard of it, but they couldn't wrap their head around it. Now they've seen it.
Yes.
Now it's slowly replacing fireworks. Like I got a feeling nationally, it probably next 20 years, fireworks are probably going to be something that we just don't see. And I think it's these drone shows are going to be the replacement because it doesn't burn things down.
It was really neat last year when we did have the drone show. You see other communities were like, they called us, where'd you get that drone show? How did you do this? And then the Balloon Fiesta, they actually had a drone show because they saw our drone show, which was really great.
Yeah. So it's now kind of catching on. But it's because now you look, because to me it's almost like fireworks meets technology meets the ice-capades.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by the ice-capades, you know how they have like the choreographed 30-day skaters and all? It's like that, but with drones. It's literally, I don't know, they got 100 or how many drones they use, and they literally can move them in these weird ways and it's all...
And they change color. It's a storyboard. So that's actually what we're working on right now is you have to build the storyline. And they can only go up for 9 minutes because of their battery life.
Okay, then they run out of juice.
And because of the sky and the rules with FAA and all that paperwork, right? But we're really excited for this year's storyboard.
Cool.
I think people will enjoy it. And it's going to be different. So Friday night we'll have one story and then Saturday we'll have a different one.
Catch them both. You know what you should do one year?
What?
Make it a series. So... First episode is Friday night.
Friday night, yeah.
Want to know how it concludes? Come outside. You got to leave them with a cliffhanger.
To be continued.
To be continued. Cliffhanger. Oh, I didn't want to see what happens here.
Yeah.
Hey, come out tomorrow night.
That's awesome.
Leave them wanting.
Yes, I love it.
But so if you've never seen one, then come out. If you missed the drone shows, don't worry. You got 2 opportunities at this year's UFO Festival. But it is really cool.
Yeah.
I love, I do love fireworks. I love things that go boom as much as the next person. But I'm not going to lie. The drone show is a suitable entertaining replacement. It's just because of the awe factor of young kids, you're used to seeing amazing things because you just were born into it. Or a person my age, I just kind of like, oh, that's amazing to see something like I would have never imagined something like that as a kid.
Right.
And that's kind of cool for me.
Yeah.
So. But check it out. Come out. UFO Festival, I know we got a couple months here, but it's going to be here faster note. If you want to volunteer, if you want to get involved, if you want to have a booth at Pioneer Plaza or at the Convention Center, please reach out to the city.
And tickets go on sale this coming weekend. So
very good.
We will have Alien Chase Up. We will have things for the planetarium, and then things that are going to be at the Galaxy stage and cantina that will be at the Convention Center.
Very good. What's the website for the UFO?
UFOfestival.com.
I always want to throw Roswell in there for the Roswell UFO Festival.
We are the main UFO festival, so it's just UFOfestival.com.
It's just in my head. I want to say Roswell UFO Festival, but it's UFOfestival.com. You can go there and like I said, here in about a week or so, you can start getting your tickets and doing all that. But in the meantime, you can kind of get your preview now, see what's coming, what events you can kind of, all right, I want to make sure I'm there this day around that time because I want to check that out. And
absolutely.
Of course, we're all the favorites that locals love, your costume and pet costume, kind of all that's happening.
Yep.
All of it, that's all that tradition still going. We've just added a bunch more other things to this year's festival. So should be a lot of fun.
It will be.
Good deal. Again, spring break coming up here. Don't forget, City's got you covered for keeping the kids, whether you want to go to the zoo or go to the Recreation and Aquatic Center or the library or wherever there's stuff going on. Reach out to any of these entities. Go to the City of Roswell, roswell-nm.gov. There you can go and find stuff for the library and everything else. SeeRoswell.com for your tourists and all that kind of stuff. And then RoswellConnect.com if you want to sign up for, I don't know, I think Brew of the Zoo and all that is through that too, right?
No, that will go through the friends.
Hold My Tacket or whatever.
We'll still have it on there, but for the camps next week, Roswell Connect, you'll create your login and sign up for that.
Because I know a lot of times, usually if there's an event at some of these, you'll find the Roswell Connect there.
Yes,
but that's if you want to get a membership to the Recreation Center, go to Roswell Connect. I mean, you can always just walk in and do it too, but if you like doing stuff
a membership at the zoo or at the rec center uses roswellconnect.com.
Just go right through there and do all that. So, and then, of course, if you have questions about any of that kind of stuff, just call City Hall, I know we'll have Kevin Mavers in a week or two here. Now that have they transitioned yet to the new? I know they're kind of been doing it.
I'm not sure.
Okay, but I know they're in the middle of all that. But just trust me, if you've got any kind, I know spring people like to do home projects and things like that. The first thing you need to do before you buy anything at a hardware store or plan your next, go talk to his office. Go down there and say, hey. Tell them what you're doing. I'm putting up a fence. I'm finishing my basement, whatever it is. Not a lot of basements around, but you get what I'm saying. And then just say, what do I need to do?
Right.
And they'll be happy. And you'll save yourself so much headache and time because they say, great, we'd love to help you. You need to get this done. You need to get this permit. And then they'll tell you how to do that. And then you don't have to worry about it.
All of that information is on our website at roswell-nm.gov. If you go under community development, you will see a list of forms for whether you're putting up a fence, you want to put in an indoor swimming pool, you want to remodel your bathroom, you want to build a shed or a garage, all of that information. You want to have a home bakery, anything like that, and have a business license. All that information is listed on the website.
And they love helping you all do that stuff.
They do.
Just
and it's a step-by-step process, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Save yourself the headache, because a lot of people try to do it on their own, and they go, and then they find out after the fact they're supposed to have done this, and this with the city, and then they get in trouble, and then it's a bad experience.
Right.
Save all that headache. Go see Kevin and his staff right away. Get all your ducks in a row. Go get that done, and I promise you, it'll go much smoother and much less painless than you anticipated.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
An ounce of prevention prevents a pound of pain, or whatever it says later on. I don't know. Very good. Did we get everything?
I think so. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Juanita. We'll see you here next time, if not sooner. And if we need to, I know there's so much going on. If we need to get you on sooner than next month, and just reach out. And reach out. Again, if you have any questions about anything we talked about, don't hesitate to call the zoo or call the aquatic center, recreation center, the library, or any of the museum, any of our city amenities here, and they'll be happy to get you the answers you need.
Yep.
Good deal.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Off to your next fire to put out.
Yes.
All right, it is 8:47. Let's pause for local news. We got your Wall Street business update and a quick commercial break. Don't go away.
Now for a Pecos Valley news update, I'm Jared Cirillo. The Artesia Aquatic Center has appointed Todd Pfizer as the new general manager. Pfizer spent 24 years as a rescue swimmer and water survival instructor for the U.S. Navy. He then became an aquatics director and manager at other similar facilities, most recently serving in Roswell as the aquatics manager. The Artesia Aquatic Center opened in 2019. It features an outdoor pool in the shape of the Bulldog logo and other recreational activities. Indoors, there is an 8-lane, 25-yard competition pool and a 3-lane, 60-foot training pool. Legislation to ban prescribed burns from being started when a high wind warning is in place is now headed to the governor's desk. Senate Bill 21 cleared its last legislative hurdle Tuesday when it first passed the New Mexico House by a unanimous vote and then went back to the Senate, where Tuesday night that chamber agreed to an amendment tacked on by the House Energy, Environment, and Natural Resources Committee. The bill had previously passed the Senate unanimously as well. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. A few isolated showers around our area today, with low pressure moving to our north and a cold front dropping through. Wind will be gusty and our afternoon high in the upper 60s. A few rain or snow showers overnight, getting pretty cold, our low in the low 30s. And then tomorrow maybe an early snow shower, clearing up in the afternoon and we'll hit about 50. Some clouds and a few showers over the weekend. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. Markets shuttered Wednesday on worries about a spreading banking crisis, and stocks and bond yields fell on both sides of the Atlantic. U.S. retail sales fell moderately in February, likely payback after the prior month's outsized increase. The report from the Commerce Department on Wednesday, which followed on the heels of data last week showing solid job growth in February, prompted economists to upgrade their gross domestic product growth estimates for this quarter. Hundreds of Google employees staged a walkout on Wednesday at the company's office in Zurich, Switzerland, after more than 200 workers were laid off. In January, Google's parent company announced plans to cut 12,000 jobs around the world, equivalent to 6% of its global workforce. The decision came amid a wave of job cuts across corporate America, particularly in tech, where companies have shed more than 290,000 workers since the start of the year. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
Double Up Days are back at Roswell Honda, and that means double your tax refund up to $2,000 right now. $1,000 get you $2,000, $1,500 get you $3,000, and $2,000, well, that gets you $4,000 towards your next vehicle at Roswell Honda, and that's on every make and model across the lot. Bring in your tax refund and let Roswell Honda double your refund up to $2,000. Now's the time to make your dollars go even further, and it all starts right here. Double Up Days are back at Roswell Honda, 2177 West 2nd.
Hi, I'm Dr. Keon at Carabelli Dental. Same-day smiles are what we do. My passion is helping patients chew, talk, and live with confidence. That's why I'm one of the few doctors in the U.S. who can create beautiful same-day smiles with the latest digital implant technology. This procedure is life-changing. Just ask Sean.
Hi, I'm Sean. I've been that voice that you've heard on the radio for most of my life, but I'm also a dad to two amazing kids. I've had a million reasons to smile, but in all my old pictures, I was never smiling. Truth is that life of improper care and being dealt a bad hand genetically left me practically with no teeth. It affected everything from the way I ate, the way I talked, and of course how I interacted with people. And that's where Dr. Keon and Carabelli stepped in. They eased my fears. They explained every step of the process in a way that I could understand, and they made me feel almost like I was part of the team. And now I can't stop smiling. I have so much more confidence, and I love looking in the mirror now. I can't explain how much of a difference Dr. Keon's dental implant process made for me.
Our team can help you find your smile too. Come see us at Carabelli Dental, 575-622-4455.
Martine's Capital Cafe in Roswell offers authentic and highly rated New Mexico food. Explore their amazing menu featuring huevos rancheros or asado with eggs or their green chili stew. And you can't forget their award-winning green chili cheeseburger, all made from scratch using their finest and freshest ingredients. Open for carryout with curbside delivery or limited dine-in. Just call ahead 624-2111. Martine's Capital Cafe, always pleasing the most refined palate. Open Monday through Saturday from 6 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. at 110 West 4th in Roswell.
If your tires are flat, need your car fixed, our reviews are better than mixed at Big O. At Big O Tires. We do the job fast and with a smile. Whatever the problem, we go the extra mile at Big O. At Big O Tires. Trusted service, no need to lie. Hop online, our reviews are high at Big O. At Big O Tires. Unbeatable service in all our stores, and that's why we get such high scores at Big O. At Big O Tires.
With high customer ratings, you can trust your locally owned Big O Tires. Now through March 26th, buy 3, get 1 free on select in-stock Sumitomo or Cooper branded tires with installation purchase. Big O Tires, the team you trust. Installation required. Disposal fees and shop fees extra where permitted. See store for pricing. Eligibility may vary. Not valid with other offers. At participating locations, no cash value.
Chick Days are back at Roswell Livestock and Farm Supply. Come and enjoy the fun and savings March 24th and 25th. Buy a 25-pound bag of Purina Start and Grow and receive 3 free chicks. Buy a 50-pound bag and get 6 free chicks. Bring the kids and the whole family. There's plenty for them to do. The Runyon Ranch Petting Zoo will be there, and Little Bits Food Truck will be there with their delicious mini donut treats. Chick Days are back March 24th and 25th at Roswell Livestock and Farm Supply, 1105 East 2nd in Roswell.
The mission of Country Club Road is to know Jesus and make Jesus known. We want to know Jesus better so we can be more like him and be moved to share Jesus with those around us. One of the words we don't often think of when it comes to Jesus is accountability. Jesus always met people where they were, but he always called them to be more than what they were. He called a ragtag bunch of fishermen to follow him so they could be fishers of men. He called a tax collector who cheated his own people and called him to be a disciple. The Jewish leaders were ready to stone a woman caught in adultery, and once he called the leaders out for their hypocrisy, he told the woman to go and sin no more. Peter was one of his apostles and the inner 3, but he repeatedly spoke and acted before he thought things through. He even went so far as to deny Jesus 3 times, even after Jesus warned him about his fall. But Jesus forgave him, and Peter became one of the pillars of the early church. He makes the same call to each of us. Let's answer that call.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
This country can sure be windy in the springtime, and we all know the best thing about wind is when it stops. Well, your friends at Roswell Ford can't do anything about the wind, but we can sure help you find the right car or truck. Roswell Ford has the biggest selection of nice pre-owned vehicles in southeastern New Mexico. Each one carefully inspected and backed with a 3-day money-back guarantee. We also have brand new Fords arriving almost every day, so you'll want to check with us frequently to be sure you don't miss something. And when your vehicle needs service, remember that Roswell Ford offers free pickup and delivery so you don't have to get out in the wind. Where the Roswell Ford mobile service van can come to you and take care of most routine maintenance at your house or where you work. So whether you're shopping for a new vehicle or taking care of the one you have, you can't do better than Roswell Ford, the Tailgate Nation, at the corner of 9th and Main. Come see us, but remember to hang on to your hat and don't let that car door get away from you.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Sigmund Freud once believed that cocaine could be used to help treat a morphine addiction. Mike used bacon to get over his addiction to beef. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is closing in on, or it actually is 8:56 now, officially. Stay tuned next hour. We're going to talk with the district attorney's office. We're going to have the 5th Judicial District Attorney, Diana Luce, join us. Also, Dennis Kentai as well. So we'll have a great little conversation talking about the DA's office and talking about what she does as the DA and all that good stuff. So good conversation to be had there. A couple things want to put on your radar. Hey, coming up is this Saturday night, the 18th. They're going to be having a dance. It's time to celebrate a good old-fashioned Irish holiday, St. Patrick's Day. Join us for a dance and food to the music of Cibolo Springs. That's going to be at Westminster Presbyterian Church. Saturday night, 2801 West 4th Street, there in the Fellowship Hall. Dance will kick off at 6 p.m. and remain in the last till about 9 o'clock. Admission is only $5 per person. Come and dance to Cindy Richardson's 50s and 60s rock and roll and Marvin Roberts' country western music. Refreshments include corned beef and cabbage, finger sandwiches, and lots more. Again, Saturday evening, 6 p.m. at Westminster Presbyterian Church. Come on out, get some dancing on, and have some fun there. You are about to be in the two-minute warning here area for the Historical Society and their scholarships they've got for high school seniors and a scholarship for college students, continuing education as well. Thanks to the Linda Hayes Trust, the Linda Hayes family, they've entrusted the Historical Society for years now to do this scholarship program, and they've got several scholarships to give away. But the deadline to get your applications in is March 31st. You've got a couple days left, about a week and a half here to get her done. They're going to be offering a $1,250 Humanities and Art Scholarship. One high school senior will be awarded that. 2 high school seniors will be awarded the STEM Scholarship, $1,250 each there. 2 high school seniors will also be awarded the Character Scholarship, and I think it's demonstrating character, not being a character. Slight difference there. 2 students will be awarded $1,250 each there. And for the first time, they are offering a continuing education scholarship, and this is available for all college students. If you're currently enrolled in college or higher education, one student that enters or that applies for that one will be awarded the $1,250 scholarship there. Again, the deadline to get your applications in is March 31st. You can obtain an application several ways. Go online to RoswellNMhistory.org, www.roswellnmhistory.org. You'll find a link there to download the application. You can email historydirector@outlook.com, all one word, historydirector@outlook.com, or call the Historical Society 575-622-8333. Again, 575-622-8333. But get those applications in. You've got till the end of March 31st, by close of business that day, to get those applications in. And I know they've got quite a few already, but keep getting them in. I like that. I don't want the decision, but I like it's a tough decision that they got lots of applicants. So please get those in. All right, closing in on 9 o'clock. We'll get you up to date with news here in just a second. We'll be back on the other side. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Despite the recent failure of two regional banks, Treasury Secretary Yellen telling the Senate Finance Committee this morning that we need not worry about the health of America's banking system.
I can reassure the members of the committee that our banking system is sound and that Americans can feel confident that their deposits will be there when they need them.
Yellen describes administration actions to bolster confidence in banking as decisive and forceful. Among other things, she says all depositors of the two failed banks have been backstopped by the Fed and the FDIC.
Our administration will continue to build on the actions we have taken to expand supply and provide cost relief in areas like energy and health care.
Now, Yellen is discussing President Biden's budget proposals slammed by Republicans for the $4.7 trillion in new and higher taxes it contains. Contradicting Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas's repeated claim that the southern border is secure, Border Patrol Chief Raul Ortiz tells a House committee that the DHS does not have complete operational control of the border. Well, it may be an American drone, but it's Russia that's trying to salvage what it can of the unmanned aircraft that it caused to crash in the Black Sea. Meanwhile, Defense Secretary Austin says he's been on the phone to his Russian counterparts.
We take any potential for escalation very seriously, and that's why I believe it's important to keep the lines of communication open.
And now Poland says it has plans to supply Ukraine with a dozen MiG-29 fighter jets. Ukraine's government has been pleading with the West for aircraft to battle the Russians. Stocks have turned positive on Wall Street. Right now, the Dow is up 68 points, the Nasdaq ahead 117, and the S&P trading 24 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Entering a time of increasing hostility against people of faith. A time when Christians are going to be tested on a moral and physical and financial basis, unlike any other time in our lifetime. I'm Lance Wallnau, Christian author, evangelical leader, here to remind you that you have to take action to protect and steward what God has given you. For example, record high inflation is going to continue to eat away at the dollar, and the savings of your retirement account is in danger. Fortunately, God does provide a way. To protect your retirement, I recommend diversifying your 401k or IRA out of paper and into physical gold. And the best way to do that is with a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. Now, to see how it works, just text the word FAITH to 989898. That'll give you access to a free info kit on gold IRAs. There are no strings attached, so text FAITH, F-A-I-T-H, to 989898 right now, and I pray your family is blessed with peace of mind because you took action.
British military officials say Russian attempts to storm a town in Ukraine's Donetsk province appear to have bogged down.
The Ministry of Defense says that this slowing down follows repeated extremely costly failed attacks over the past 3 months, owing in part to Ukraine's successful adoption of remote anti-armor mine systems, a specialist artillery shell that scatters anti-armor mines as far as 10.6 miles away from the firing unit. According to British analysts, recently Russia has only achieved notable tactical successes in the east in Bakhmut, where the Wagner private military company is fighting, and the Russian military's drive for progress in Volodar may have been partly motivated by Wagner's success. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Credit Suisse announcing it will move to shore up its finances by borrowing nearly $54 billion from the Swiss Central Bank. News and analysis at townhall.com. Just when you thought you didn't have to worry about losing that stove you like so much.
According to Arizona Representative Debbie Lesko, the Biden administration is coming for your gas stove, with efforts to ban at least 96% of them. Lesko's article in the Washington Examiner described the backdoor ban by way of outrageous regulations that only 4% of gas stoves will meet, excluding all conventional freestand ranges. She said the move is not being undertaken by elected representatives, but rather unelected bureaucrats in the Department of Energy. The administration claims the stoves cause health issues. Conservative lawmakers say it's another Biden administration attack on the energy industry. Tasha Stevens reporting.
California's 11th atmospheric river hit the state hard yesterday, bringing more flooded roads, landslides, and toppling trees in the southern part of the state. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the
the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican world radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3.
Grace and Heroes.
There you go. Mornings with Mike Winters right here on 106.5. Yeah, he's gonna go in and bout today. I think y'all making him nervous. He doesn't like. I'm just kidding.
Too many guns, too many badges.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, his past is catching up with
him.
him.
He's like, no. He's like, nice to meet you. No, I'm just kidding. No, he's doing another show right now. He's the one guy that has to do 2 shows in one time, so he's in and out all the time. But welcome to hour number 3 of Mornings with Mike Winters. Definitely want to. It's going to be one of those days where you're going to want to wear a T-shirt at one point and then coat another and probably an umbrella at some point. We got the rain, possibly. Although I'm a little bummed because they were hyping this rain stuff like a week ago. Like at the beginning of the week, they were talking 40-50% chance of rain. We're going to get rain. And I was like, and I saw it coming. I said Monday, wait. Well, by the time we get to like Thursday, Friday, it'll be down to like 20%. And sure enough, that's exact. Matter of fact, I didn't even talk about rain on Friday now. Just like little today and little Saturday. So we'll see. But anyway, we'll get you up to date with the weather here in just a bit. And then here in just a few, we will talk with the District Attorney's Office, the 5th Judicial District. We'll have the District Attorney, lead prosecutor as well, and Dennis. I'm kidding, of course. But Dennis is the one who makes it all happen here. So, but we're talking to his bosses today, so he's got to behave himself. So, but we got a chance, and so Diana and Justin will join us here, and we'll talk a little bit about the District Attorney's Office here. So that conversation's coming up just a little bit later on in the hour. We'll get you up to date with the local news along with your Wall Street business update. See how much they screwed up Wall Street already this morning, and then whatever else we can come up with for this hour of the show. Before we do any of that, though, let's go ahead and take a gander at your weather. Like I said, they're kind of backing off on some of these percentages of rain and stuff. Still a chance, but not as good as earlier.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. A few isolated showers around our area today with low pressure moving to our north and a cold front dropping through. Wind will be gusty and our afternoon high in the upper 60s. A few rain or snow showers overnight, getting pretty cold, our low in the low 30s. And then tomorrow maybe an early snow shower, clearing up in the afternoon and we'll hit about 50. Some clouds and a few showers over the weekend. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton and that's your latest forecast.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 63 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 38%. Winds are out of the northwest at 9 miles per hour, gusting to 23. Although my weed tree's not moving that much, so I don't think it's gusting here. But anyway, 20% chance of showers after 3 today. Partly cloudy, high of 69. Will be breezy. West winds 15 to 20, increasing 20 to 25, gusting as high as 35 miles per hour later this afternoon. We do have a 30% chance at rain showers before midnight tonight, then it changing over to a chance of rain and snow showers. Cloudy skies, overnight low of 33 with north winds 15 to 20. dropping down 10 to 15 after midnight. They're saying new snow accumulations less than a half an inch possible. So probably a dusting is what you might see in the morning when you wake up. Partly cloudy for Friday, high of 52. Winds will be out of the northeast, 10 to 15 miles per hour tomorrow, with winds out of the southeast shifting later in the afternoon. Friday night, mostly cloudy, overnight low of 34. Southeast winds 5 to 10. Saturday, during the day, just mostly cloudy, highs right around 50. It's a little cooler. Southeast winds 5 to 10. Saturday night, we're looking at a 20% chance of rain showers early, then it changing over to a rain-snow mix. Mostly cloudy with an overnight low of 32. 30% chance of snow showers early on Sunday, then kind of a rain shower changing over to rain later in the day. Mostly cloudy, high of only 49, and then a 30% chance Sunday night as well. 20% chance of rain Monday when you head back to work. Partly cloudy, 60 for a high there. All right, it is 11 minutes after 9 o'clock. We're going to take a 3-minute commercial break, and then we'll talk with the DA's office on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Edge Safety and Services, LLC in Artesia, New Mexico has an immediate opening for a safety technician. Position requires a clean driving record and must be able to pass a drug and alcohol screen. Edge Safety offers great pay with IRA benefits and employer contribution towards health benefits. Please email resumes to edgecoding@yahoo.com or apply in person at 402 West Main Street inside the Edge Safety and Services facility. Edge Safety and Services, LLC is an equal opportunity employer.
Attention high school students. Would you like more information on the safest university in New Mexico? Then RSVP today to our Eastern New Mexico University Open House Preview Day, Saturday, March 25th. At ENMU Open House, you'll have a chance to win great scholarships and prizes. Get more information about admissions, meet with the ENMU faculty, find out more about potential majors, and get a specialized campus tour. Sign up today at enmu.edu/open house. Eastern New Mexico University. Student success. That's what we're about.
You've heard of a Four Seasons room, but have you heard of a Four Seasons window? Jennifer here from Trustmark Roofing and Windows. It might surprise you to learn many windows are built to handle only the cold or only the heat, but not both. In Southeast New Mexico, one or the other doesn't cut it. That's why Trustmark windows are built to handle our Four Seasons climate, the scorching summers, the bone-chilling winters, and everything in between. Special glass coating blocks extreme UV rays, a stout frame prevents warping from the extreme weather changes, and insulated glass is like putting your home in a giant styrofoam cooler in the winter and keeps cold out and warmth in, and in the summer it keeps heat out and cool in. For our Four Seasons weather, get Four Seasons windows. Call today for your no-obligation spring window assessment, 575-755-7663, or visit TrustmarkRoofPros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
The mission of Country Club Road is to know Jesus and make Jesus known. We want to know Jesus better so we can be more like him and be moved to share Jesus with those around us. One of the words we don't often think of when it comes to Jesus is accountability. Jesus always met people where they were, but he always called them to be more than what they were. He called a ragtag bunch of fishermen to follow him so they could be fishers of men. He called a tax collector who cheated his own people and called him to be a disciple. The Jewish leaders were ready to stone a woman caught in adultery, and once he called the leaders out for their hypocrisy, he told the woman to go and sin no more. Peter was one of his apostles in the inner three, but he repeatedly spoke and acted before he thought things through. He even went so far as to deny Jesus 3 times, even after Jesus warned him about his fall. But Jesus forgave him, and Peter became one of the pillars of the early church. He makes the same call to each of us. Let's answer that call.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. The Goodyear Rubber Company researched and concluded that shoes wear out faster on the right foot than on the left. To fix this, just walk backwards for half the day. Here's Mike Winters.
Or not, you do you. Good morning. It is 14 minutes after 9 o'clock. And joining us in the studio this morning, we have District Attorney for the 5th Judicial District, Diana Luce here, lead prosecutor as well, Justin Dominguez, and Dennis Kentai as well. Good morning.
I'm the chief investigator.
Chief investigator. My apologies.
Yes,
I'm sorry. I thought he said lead prosecutor. I apologize.
I didn't go to school long enough for that.
Well, long enough to know that you know what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here, so. But my apologies. But good morning. How's everybody doing today?
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. Thanks for. I know your schedules are crazy busy and you cover a lot of areas. So to have you here for a little bit, we do appreciate that. I know. Your dance card gets a little full. So I guess first, let's for folks that don't understand our process here, obviously we have our state courts, we have things, but everything's broken down into the districts. And we talked a little bit about that, but talk a little bit about what kind of what your responsibilities is as a DA for the 5th Judicial District here.
Sure. As district attorney for the 5th Judicial District, which encompasses Chavez, Eddy, and Lee counties, we prosecute all misdemeanors and felonies that don't go through municipal court.
Gotcha.
And so sometimes that's a lot. For those of you that come in and serve jury duty, you think it's a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's our role. The district attorney is a 4-year term.
Okay.
We're on what we call the presidential cycle.
Okay.
So we run when the president is on the ballot.
Gotcha.
And so I was appointed due to the retirement of Janetta Hicks.
Okay.
I was appointed in June of 2015.
Good deal.
And then I ran, because you know how it is, you get appointed.
Sure, and then you gotta get
run.
it on your own merits there. Yeah.
Right. And so then I ran another term after that. But each of our offices has, like Justin, we have an investigator in each office. It varies between 6 to 7 attorneys in each office. I have more slots, just don't have people.
Gotcha.
We have victim advocates in each office, support staff. We have IT. We have one IT person that works the whole district.
Okay.
And then we have our probably more famous court facility dogs.
Yes. We got to meet a few of them a couple times over the last couple months.
Yes.
Yes.
And so Gina Yeager is our courthouse dog coordinator, and she takes care of the dogs. Everybody loves the dogs.
They are cool dogs and very, very chill, very just like they were hanging out, laying in here. And matter of fact, one was laying like under the desk here, and I kept accidentally bumping it with my feet. I was like, this dog's going to kill me, but I didn't care. Yeah, great dog. It was awesome here. So I have a question for you because as the investigator, because this is where my naivete comes in. I always kind of thought, the attorneys, you guys would get the information that the police officers gather it at a case, and then you go and then prosecute based off that. As an investigator, do you just basically take that police investigation to the next level and do deeper digging? I mean, so I'm just kind of curious on what sure, because I didn't realize that the DA's office was actually doing. I always kind of thought that was the law enforcement side, and
sure.
then the DA kind of does that.
So most investigators in the offices throughout the state are certified law enforcement officers. Our commission comes from the DA.
Okay, so
technically
my commission
comes from Diana.
Gotcha.
And my main function is to support the prosecutors in however we can help them to prosecute their case or whatever case they have coming up, some of the more major type crimes. And then also we act as a liaison between our office and the law enforcement entities around our districts.
Okay.
We can help them in whatever capacity they may need in investigations. A lot of times it's homicides or stuff like that. And if there's a homicide or an officer-involved shooting, we'll go out with the prosecutor or on our own to... So the prosecutor kind of has boots on the ground to observe the scene and kind of provide information back to where whenever we're looking at contacting witnesses or stuff, then we've already established a connection or that face-to-face with witnesses or potential witnesses moving forward in the case.
Gotcha.
Those are some of the main functions that we serve. We also get investigations down from the Attorney General's office that they'll ask us for certain things to look into and stuff like that. But first and foremost, our primary function is to support the DAs and the ADAs in their prosecution efforts for trial.
Yeah, because I'm unfortunately, y'all's job is chronicled on TV incorrectly all over the place.
Sure.
So
Well, it's more exciting on TV.
It is a little bit. I mean, Raymond Burr can solve a case in an hour, and you guys, don't get that luxury. But anyway,
yes, sir.
We take longer.
But I always kind of, and that was kind of interesting to me to that side of the role, because I always just think it's like, all right, the prosecution, the district attorney's taken whatever evidence the police have gathered and go from there, and you're kind of that liaison in between. I'm guessing,
yes, sir.
If the police department can't, they take it up to this point. And at some point, that their officers are on different cases and things, and you're like, okay, well, on this case, I need to do some interviews on this, and this. That's where you come in.
And also, our district, the 5th, encompasses some smaller rural agencies where sometimes they're stretched thin with their personnel, and they may need, hey, we're short. Or we have one detective for our entire department. Can you help us conduct an interview, or can you help us serve a witness with a subpoena? If they're stretched thin. We are, like I said, we're certified law enforcement officers, so we are more than capable of being able to act in those capacities and help them out.
And to give Justin, Dinah, tell exactly what the 5th district covers land-wise. It's one of the it's not the largest, but it is one of the larger districts in the state of New Mexico as far as territory here.
Sure. It is really large because we go all the way, around the state between Chavez County, all the way down to Lee County, where we border with Texas. And then, we've got Carlsbad, Artesia, Loving. So it's a really wide area. And so speaking about rural districts, we have the large police forces like Roswell Police Department, right?
We're the big city here, by the way, guys.
Right. And then you've got the little small areas within Chavez County as well as the others. And so that's all part of our district. And so as district attorney, I actually live outside of Lovington in Lee County.
So you had a haul this morning.
So that's every week,
Make him
right?
buy you breakfast.
Yeah, Dennis could have got a Starbucks or something. Right?
Wait a minute.
But we travel to all 3 counties. I actually have an office in each of the courthouses where the district attorneys are housed by the counties.
Needless to say, you do a lot of oil changes.
So we do a lot of fill-ups. We support the oil and gas industry.
There you go.
Yes, absolutely.
So let me ask you, how did you get here? What made you? What's your story? What did you decide to say? This is why I want to be a district attorney. What was it that drove you to want to do this?
I went to law school because I was one of those people that you want to truly make a difference. You want to help in your community. And I went to law school and I wanted to be a trial attorney. I can date myself by age. I'll just say it. I'm 57. I grew up watching Perry Mason, and and
so she knew the Raymond Burr reference.
I did, and I was one of those people that got put your desk over because you talked in class, right? And so now I get paid to talk. Judges would probably prefer I talk. But really,
then they got no decision to make if you don't talk.
And, I actually started as a prosecutor here in Chavez County under DA Tom Rutledge and Deputy District Attorney Janine Anderson.
Wow.
And so I started here. I ended up in Lee County. My family, husband, and children, we were here in Roswell, and we moved to Lee County with his job. And so that's where how I ended up over there. And I've been there.
Gotcha.
But I've been with the 5th District. I left for a little while. I did a little time in private practice. And then I did 4 years as the magistrate judge in Lovington. And then I came back to what I call the right side.
Gotcha.
In 2009, I came back to the district attorney's office. And so I've been here since 2009.
I always that's kind of the question I'm always, because you look at the world of attorneys and I'm not an expert, but it seems like if you're seeking financial security and all the living large like a lawyer, then you're probably going to be a defense attorney, because that's, you know what I mean? Because that's where the money is. But I'm guessing, like, is there does it take a certain breed, like you have attorneys that, and I'm not trying to say one's better than the other or anything like that, but for folks that work with the district attorney's office, yourself, your junior DAs, fresh out of the young law school, those junior ones, does it take Like, is it a mindset that's different? Because, I mean, after you go through law school and and pass the bar and all that, you're like, dude, I got to get a paycheck. And so you're thinking, well, it's going to be a lot more lucrative if I get on with with some private practice or something like that. So I would imagine for someone like you to be involved on this side, the good side here, you kind of, as you were joking earlier, I mean, what is it? Just take a different breed of attorney to want to do that versus where, I mean, obviously not all attorneys are in it for money, but I'm thinking if you're going to go through that much schooling and that much stuff, you kind of want to get paid. I mean, that's how it works. I mean, is that a hurdle for keeping good prosecutors, but just not being tempted to take the payday,
It is hard for not only the 5th District, my office, but for all the district attorneys throughout the state of New Mexico. We can hire people right out of law school.
Sure.
They come work for us for a while. They get some great trial experience.
Sure.
They learn how to, apply the law to real life cases. And then they do oftentimes go to private practice, or whether it's defense work or personal injury or other types of civil law. Sometimes they switch sides. They'll go to another government agency, right? The Attorney General's office.
Sure.
But definitely I think that it's public service. I think that people that work for the district attorney's office from all levels, from our support staff to our victim advocates, our investigators, the attorneys, it's all that they care about their community.
It's about the mission.
Right. And they want to have a safe place to live too.
Sure. And I think but I got to imagine, aside from law enforcement and mental health and PTSD, I would imagine attorneys, district attorneys are almost on par with some of that. Yeah, you may not be physically in the room with the violence going on, but you're seeing the photos, you're hearing the stories, you're talking to the people. That I don't care what anybody says. Enough of that's going to mess with your head. I mean, is that something that you constantly deal with too in that office, where you're kind of, yes, you're the boss and the prosecutor, but sometimes you have to be a bit of a psychiatrist to some of our staff to just say, hey, I get it. This is some heinous stuff we're dealing with, but you're doing the right thing. I mean, is there a lot of that going on too sometimes?
There is.
Yeah.
As the National District Attorneys Association, I serve on their board for New Mexico for our association, and we actually started wellness CLEs and information webinars for prosecutors and other staff, because we take on the pain, right, and the sadness and sometimes the horror and tragedy of the cases, and it's hard to separate yourself from that. And so we encourage people. One thing you encourage people is you get annual leave from the state. Use it, right? You have to take a break.
Use those resources that are available
to you. You can't do this nonstop because as much as you want to continue to do the right thing, you have to take care of yourself, and you have to have we always talk about work-life balance, but it may not really be a balance, but you have to have something outside of the job that is your stress relief.
Sure. I imagine the same case with you, Justin, and the investigative side. I mean, yeah, you a little bit boots on the ground, but at the end of the day, and sometimes because you're the investigator, you're probably interviewing and questioning some of the victims and some of the people. And so you kind of have to turn into a bit of a psychiatrist too, and kind of, because you want to get good information. So you've got to, talk to them in a way that they're going to feel comfortable presenting that information to you.
Sure. Yes, sir. And I would say, so there's, we have 3 main offices for each county, Eddie, Chavez, and Lee. And we have myself and 2 other certified law enforcement officers in investigations that I supervise, and Hector and Stan are out of the Hobbs and Roswell offices. My main office is in Carlsbad, but I'm on the road quite often, just like Diana. And the same between the 3 of us. I can't even put Dennis in this equation because the number will go up exponentially. But just between Hector, Stan, and I, we collectively have probably close to 75 years of service between the three of us.
Children.
Before we came into, as far as the DA's office, you know, I had a lengthy career with the Eddy County Sheriff's Office and with Lovington PD and Artesia PD before I came to the DA's office. So yeah, it's a lot of years of trying to separate, you know, the two, home life and work life. But the district attorney's office, and Diana's really good about offering services for staff to make sure that we have outlets and we have people that we can talk to, and there's committees and things that are formed that are put together for like peer support groups and stuff like that.
Sure.
They do a good job of making sure that the office has resources available.
Sure, and I know law enforcement's, because law enforcement's law enforcement. It's kind of shares that military set. You're almost default trained to look out for each other's back, watch each other a little bit, and that's kind of the stuff you're talking about. Dennis, you can attest to some of that too.
No, I want to also talk about one of the harder things that the DA and the prosecutors have to do, and that is there are no perfect cases. All right,
your job would be a whole lot easier if it was, huh?
Yeah, it was.
Yes, sir. You can wrap it up in an hour like the TV. Yeah, it'd be great.
So what they've got to do is make the hard calls, and that, I think, really doesn't get understood, because they see the pain of the victims, they know what the victims have gone through, and yet the prosecutors have got to sit down and take the hard, clear look at a case and go, we'd really like to have this guy drawn and quartered on a public square, but it's not going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a decision on all these major cases. Go through this lady here. She's got to be, she's part of all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I would argue that's one of the hardest, most unrecognized and unappreciated jobs she's got.
I can imagine. That's because, at the end of the day, and I would guess when you look at a case, whether you're going to decide to prosecute or not, I mean, yes, there's emotion involved in all of this, but from your perspective, it's pretty much the nuts and bolts, the black and white. You're looking at and say, is the evidence here to prosecute the case? And if that's the case, then we prosecute it. If not, then we don't. And I know we get some motions, people like, that's your version. I know, but if we don't have the evidence to put him in jail, we're wasting your time and our time. We've got to have that stuff there to do that. I imagine, is that the hardest part of your job? Really? I mean, is that moment of, man, we really want to prosecute, but the data just doesn't let me do it. I mean, is that really one of the tricky parts of your job, is juggling that balance of trying to, get a prosecution even when the evidence may not support that sometimes?
I think that's the part that makes the job the hardest.
Mm-hmm.
We want to do the right thing, but you can't always charge someone.
Sure.
You can't always convict someone that's been charged. And so sometimes you'll see where we've pled a case, and we sometimes get a lot of negative feedback from that. And it usually comes down to what was our evidence to prove a charge, what witnesses were still cooperating. We really struggled through, the court stayed open all during the COVID period of the pandemic. But we struggled with getting, witnesses and victims and people to stay on board.
That's the trick, right?
Because jury trials were in person, no matter what. They had to be in person. And as they backlogged because of the limitations of number of people in a courtroom, in the building, whatever rules they had in place, it made it really hard to move things. So now what we're seeing is there are a lot of trials that need to go. And there are only so many prosecutors and so many settings. And so it's a struggle. It's hard to have to tell a family of like a deceased victim, we can't charge someone. Or we have to charge involuntary.
Sure, something lesser or something. Yeah.
It's really hard, and that's where our victim advocates are really helpful. And I have to tell you,
those dogs come in.
That's where the dogs come in. Our court facility dogs support us too, right? They don't just support the public and go out and do things, or our victims or witnesses.
They give you the information you need to do your job.
They help us get through this job as well.
I'm kind of curious where time can probably be your enemy too in a lot of these cases, because let's face it, court cases, court's backlog, a murder trial is going to take a couple years sometimes. It just is, because that's the way things happen. That can be your enemy in terms of the closer you are to the incident, people's emotions, people that were willing to talk as time goes, may not be as willing. You know, emotions soften. Somebody gets to somebody and convinces them otherwise. Is that a big issue for you guys too? Where it's like, this goes long, we gotta stay on top of our witness and make sure they don't, decide to have a change of heart here.
It's difficult to keep people engaged.
Yeah.
Time passes. We try through our staff, our victim advocates, our investigators. We ask whoever the case agent is from the agency to do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But at times, if whoever's short-staffed, they're working on other things, sometimes no matter the contact we have, we can't keep people engaged.
Sure.
And delay is usually not a positive for prosecution of a case.
Gotcha. So the more you see that, your side's kind of going, oh boy. Defense is like, win for us. Oh boy. So I know this is kind of, but I'm just curious. Like, what's like a good day for you? Like when you have when you have is it just winning cases? Is it when you come and you're like, man, this is a day I'm glad I'm a district attorney. What's the kind of stuff that makes you say that kind of thing?
Well, I think days when we feel like our victim got justice.
Gotcha.
That's a good day for
me.
That's what it's really all about. It's not about, we're not about whether it's we don't count wins, right?
Sure.
We don't count convictions. We do track trials for data, but that's personal. That's not even an office-wide thing. So we care about the outcome. We care if it's a plea. If our victim asks us to dismiss, they don't want to go forward anymore.
Sure. Creating closure.
It's hard for us to let go of a case when we feel like we could get something for a victim. But a good day is when we feel like we've gotten justice.
Gotcha. It's great. Even though it's, not because let's say we're talking about crime. Something bad happens somewhere in something. It could be really bad, could be not so bad. But at the end of the day, that resolve of that is a kind of a sense of relief a little bit.
Another thing I would like you to touch on is the nickname for this office.
There is a nickname now.
There is a nickname.
Who bestowed this? The public or
this goes way back? It's the Fighting Fifth.
Okay.
And the reason is this 5th Judicial District Attorney's Office has historically been arguably the most aggressive.
Gotcha.
In filing cases. I remember an article years ago in the Albuquerque Journal. The only district that had more felony trials was Albuquerque, the second, if I remember correctly. You want to touch on that?
That's pretty crazy because if you look at just per capita, people in Bernalillo County and Albuquerque versus all of the 5th District, they still got us beat here by droves, and but you're kind of, I imagine for you that's it. You're like, that's a good thing because these people are paying for the crimes that or we're trying to make them pay for the crimes that they're doing and things. So is that, how does that reputation look for the fighting? Like, is that something that other districts give you guys, or is that just, because I look at it as a badge of honor, but I imagine there's probably a few people that have negative connotations about that stuff.
This was a name that was given to the office when Tom Rutledge was district attorney. And they actually had a period of preceded me working for the office. I actually started for the office in December of 1996.
Okay.
When I originally started. So they took a period of time where they didn't make any plea offers.
Okay.
And they just took cases to trial, or someone could simply enter what we call a straight-up plea as charged. And so they actually had blazers, and they had like some kind of little crest, and they were very united.
I kind of like that. I kind of get it. It's kind of cool.
There's some people that like it within our district that work for us, and some of us that don't. But some people embrace that as that we fight for what is right.
Yeah,
we
that's
fight
what
for
I'm
justice.
thinking at it. You're a victim's advocate, and that's a good thing.
Sure, but we don't currently hold the title for the most trials anymore. I believe the 12th district took that on when John Sugg, who is now a district judge out of the 12th, when he became DA, they took on that role of taking things to trial.
Gotcha.
And that's great. I think that you'll see that in our part of the state. The 9th district, which is Curry and Roosevelt, us, the 12th, which is Otero, and Lincoln, we're all kind of in that same line of we're willing to take things to trial,
sure,
if that's what it takes to try to get justice.
Absolutely. I'm kind of curious because obviously as the DA, you probably know every single judge in the 5th District that serves, and you probably have, I'm guessing, like a baseball manager's dossier on each one of them on their tendencies and likes and this. I mean, does that come into play sometimes when you're looking at cases and it's like, well, I know certain judges are not going to, in our district, aren't going to like this? Or, I mean, is that a tool that you can use when it comes to prosecuting things, saying, well, I know our judges in this district, I know what they tolerate and what don't tolerate? I mean, is that an advantage and come into play, or is that not, or am I completely off base and that's none of the factors in prosecuting a case?
It's really not a factor in prosecuting. It may be a factor if we're trying to negotiate a plea with a defense attorney about what parameters a judge will, see that maybe they feel like the DA's being soft on crime, right?
Gotcha.
And they are like, why are you recommending something low, or why are you offering someone probation? But like I say, once again, if we're doing a plea, a lot of times it's either evidence-based or it's victim or victim family based. It's usually not us, because most of my attorneys that come to work for us because they are trial attorneys at heart. And they're willing to go to trial. I mean, that's our job. It's just like the officer getting in their unit and going out to work, right? It's our job to do trials.
Sure.
So it doesn't matter to us if we're doing a trial that's good. That's,
sure.
But I think that's just part of the balance. I think judges just want to see cases move forward.
Absolutely.
They want to see timely resolution, because if someone is, let's say they're not guilty at trial, right? They want that person to move forward with their life and move on, and they just want the cases to proceed timely through their docket.
Gotcha. So whatever means to that end, obviously correctly, is what they're going to lean towards and things like that. So I'm curious, as an investigator, do you spend a lot of time testifying in court based on your interviews and stuff, or is it mostly just your notes and stuff are used by the DA to interview I
think it's more. I think it's more a combination of all things considered.
Okay.
It's whatever is going to help the case and help the prosecutor most effectively in trial is what we're going to do. If we do conduct an interview and in order for that piece of evidence to come in, our testimony is needed, then we will testify.
Gotcha.
If it's as simple as sitting at the counsel table and writing a note to the prosecutor, hey, we might ask this, or this is part of the evidence that we're looking at right now on direct examination, or if we hear something on cross that they may be able to hit now, then we can assist them that way.
Gotcha.
So it's just kind of we can sit with them along with the case agent at the counsel table during trial and kind of assist in that. And that's typically done only in the more, your homicides and stuff like that. Something that's what I would consider a higher type of crime against a person.
Gotcha.
In whatever way we can.
Because I didn't know if sometimes as an investigator, then your testimony is needed as an expert opinion on a certain thing or something like that, just based off, maybe it's a crime scene. You were at the crime scene, you see it like, I was a cop for some years, and I see blood splatter like that, it means X or something like that.
So typically we would bring someone in from, a lot of times
a different person to do that.
Police
Gotcha.
Has
okay.
expert witnesses and blood pattern analysis and stuff like that. And
I didn't know just because since you were interviewing and stuff that he was the one who testifies.
Oh, most definitely. If we had information that was pertinent to the case or that would prove beneficial to the prosecutor, 100% we would be more than happy to get on and testify.
Gotcha.
It's part of the job. It's something we would do for sure.
And from the attorney perspective on that, when you have one of your assistant DAs and they're trying a case and things like that, when it comes to their witnesses and when they have to get, say, the expert are they the ones that kind of do that, or is that where the office gets involved in helping, or is it kind of like, hey, I need an expert on ballistics? All right, well, I mean, how does that kind of, is it on the DA to kind of find that person, or is there, within the office resources, hey, we have because I mean, you deal with a lot of, we have a ballistics guy, let's go ahead and reach out to them and see if they can take a look at it. I mean, is it like that, or is it more on the actual attorney prosecuting the case to kind of put those ducks in a row?
We do what's called vertical prosecution. Okay. So you usually have the case from the beginning all the way through. But as for whether, like, who they use as experts, we share that information within our office of who we've used. Our state lab, DPS lab, provides a lot of our experts.
Gotcha. So it's just taking
firearms,
that, whatever comes back from them.
DNA, of course, the Office of the Medical Investigator or OMI doctors, or they're out of Albuquerque.
Gotcha.
Same for the whole state. But we do use other experts that are either from New Mexico, sometimes or other states. And so we kind of in-house in the office, kind of all keep kind of a list of people to contact.
Makes sense.
But we also reach out to other DA's offices or the National District Attorneys Association.
Sure.
They help keep a list of experts. But our cases are always, we try to have two people on major cases,
Gotcha.
two prosecutors. And certainly everybody's supervisors, of course, I'm like the top, right? So ultimately they can come to me, but they can always go to their mid-level supervisor and say, hey, I've got this issue.
Okay.
How do I find somebody?
Cool. I'm just curious about the inside baseball stuff. Sometimes it's kind of neat to me. I just like, I'm one of, like, I always joke, I don't watch wrestling, don't care about wrestling, but if you give me a documentary about the behind the scenes of wrestling, I'll watch every second of it.
Absolutely. That's a little scary.
I know. I'm a little odd dude, but
one of the other things that struck me is how difficult it's been for the DA's office and for everyone to work in the restrictions that come down from the Supreme Court. I can say that because I'm only a part-time employee. She has to say nice things about the Supreme. But if I think you're
making me nervous.
Yeah, I know. I do that to a lot of people.
There's a way to mute his mic. Right?
Yeah, I can do that.
But we're scheduled for some changes. Do we know yet? Do you want to talk about that a little bit, or describe what you guys have been working under? And if you haven't been in the courtroom, you don't realize.
Okay.
Well, yeah, if you didn't have the pleasure of jury service during the pandemic.
No, I was pre-pandemic. I got popped like every 3 years for almost to a T. But yeah, I'm probably due. I'm probably jinxing myself. I'm going to get a notice here pretty quick.
You probably will. Now. That's how it works. Jurors. Everybody had to wear a mask. We had to stay originally 6 feet apart. There were original limitations on number of people in a courtroom based on its size.
Wow.
And so we had to do our jury selection in little small groups, and so it meant trying to ask the same questions repeatedly to each group.
So it was a big cluster, basically.
And it took a long time, right, to pick a jury, and a lot of jurors are just waiting, right, just sitting, waiting. It was frustrating. But what's happened now in the progression is that there used to be questions you had to ask in advance. You had to be able to answer these questions correctly, or you couldn't come in to the court. Well, they took the questions away. We still wear masks. We're now only 3 feet apart. They're not doing all the cleaning anymore. They used to have to clean the podium every time somebody different went to stand at it, clean the witness stand. We have plexiglass up. The plexiglass is gone. But jurors are still wearing what I'm going to call the paper surgical mask.
Okay.
And then they have to wear a cloth mask over it.
Oh, wow.
But the judge and the attorneys only have to wear the surgical paper mask.
Okay.
While we look at the jury wearing two. And, as a person,
someone got paid to think this little process up?
As a person, not just as the district attorney, as a person, you think, how is that fair? We're all in there together.
Right.
We're all in there together. I know they want to
What happens when the jury deliberates? That room's not that big. I've been in that room.
Oh, okay. So they haven't been using the actual jury rooms in all the courthouses because it depends on the size. The size of the room dictates whether they can use it.
Okay.
So what they were using was the courtroom became the jury room. So everybody else had to leave, right? That's the jury room. And then you could only come in when you were given the okay by the bailiff that now, the prosecutor and the defense attorney, we can come back in the courtroom. But it's been it's been a struggle to have jurors under that process. It's been a struggle with witnesses because you can't see their face. Sometimes you feel like you
can kind of, people are lying. You kind of, there's tells. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Right. Or sometimes it's just easier to connect with a witness.
It's more personal than you talking to a masked person.
Right. Yeah. And then you're always pulling the mask,
fidgeting,
and adjusting it, and it's always sliding down your nose. I think if we had if we got a quarter for every time somebody was told to pull their mask up over their nose, we could fund something.
Fund the DA's.
But it's been.
But how many decisions are tainted because people just want to get the heck out of there rather than actually do the job of prosecuting?
Well,
because they don't want to. Right. I know, but I mean that's a question you have to ask if you're making everyone jump through hoops to do all that.
That's been a challenge. That's been an issue raised. Obviously, defense has a right. Has an obligation to protect the rights of their clients. Sure. And so that's been an issue. They've made records on that. But ultimately, our New Mexico Supreme Court formed a committee, an emergency response team, and it had a kind of a variety of individuals and the justice partners, and they made the rules. And they make the recommendation, and then our Supreme Court adopted that or didn't, right? They could modify it. And they continue to make modifications going forward. Mm-hmm. And so it's gotten better. But we don't have any indication yet that the dropping of the mask is actually going to happen yet. Other states have already done that. I think we are possibly the last state that still requires
at all. Based on our
masks
state
in the courtroom.
Leadership, that does not surprise me.
There might be another one out there, but I don't think it's statewide if they're doing it. I think it may be because of an outbreak of something.
And the federal courts in New Mexico do not require the mask.
You're not here to help.
Even the feds figured it out, huh? That's saying something when the feds figured it out faster than you did.
And that's what's frustrating is we have to follow what the Supreme Court tells us. We abide by the rules. We follow them. We may not like them either.
Sure, but
we follow them
exactly.
And it's
we'll grumble in silence, or in quiet. But
so really, what we have to say is thank you to all the people that have served jury service.
You've
and
gone above and beyond this,
it.
especially this last several years here with the COVID. So.
Wearing 2 masks and sitting through however many hours or days of a jury trial that you've served our community. We can't say thank you enough because we couldn't do our job without jurors.
Yeah, jurors. I've done it a few times. It's actually not a bad gig. I mean, I don't know about all this mask wearing nonsense, but it's kind of an interesting opportunity if you ever get to do it. You get to see how the sausage is made, but I mean, it's really just to see you get an impact of what kind of stuff you see in a courtroom too, the types of cases, the types of people, the types of issues that we deal with on a day-to-day basis in a court. As a juror, you get there's unless you're one of the other players in the court, there's really not any better perspective than that. So,
and I think one thing that sometimes the public doesn't know about our cases and how they flow through the system is that a person is interviewed by law enforcement. And they sometimes think, okay, I've given my statement, I'm probably good, right? And the answer to that is no. You may be interviewed again by law enforcement. If you're a child witness, we try to have them interviewed through what we call a safe house interview. Okay. And CASA has that set up here in Chaves County, and they do a fabulous job for us. But that's not the end either. There is a rule in New Mexico by a Supreme Court rule that requires witnesses to give what's called a pre-trial interview for defense counsel. And so they have to give that interview. So it doesn't matter if they've already given a recorded interview in some manner, they have to do it again.
Gotcha.
And if the defense attorney changes in the case, let's say they're off the case because of choice or they moved perhaps, whatever happens.
They do it all over again?
They have to do it all over again. And then they still have to go to court and testify. And so even child witnesses can have to go to court and testify. There is a process for limited types of crimes where a child can testify by video deposition, but we have to
make it a little better for them, yeah.
Yeah, we have to have an evaluation by an expert, and a court has to make a finding. It's not like automatic, and it's a struggle. So sometimes people tell their story 3 or 4 times before they ever even get to jury trial. And that's hard to keep people engaged, right? Because they feel like, I have told this. How many times do I have to say it?
Especially if it's obviously a traumatizing scenario and they're dealing, with their own emotions on how to wrap their head around it. And it certainly doesn't make it easier when you got to explain the story 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 times to different people over and over again. However, I understand why that's the case, because if you're being accused of something, you're going to want everyone doing their, especially if you didn't do it, and you want to make sure that they do everything to kind of get there. So I get why it's that way. Is it frustrating, especially when when you know certain cases, you just know we're dealing with some bad people here. I mean, you know, as prosecutors, as people, you know, walk like a duck, talk like a duck. You know that's usually a pretty good intuition. Not always, but certainly is. And so when those cases happen, that's when you feel for these folks. It's like they shouldn't have to explain it 5 times. We get this should be open and shut. But if from the other perspective, if you're wrongfully accused of something, you're going to want to make sure everyone's done 27 times to see if something slipped up and changed, which might exonerate you. So I get the frustration, but I also understand the need for it. And so that's where we as a country have to understand our court system is not meant to be fast and expedient. It's supposed to get it right, and it's going to be glacial. And I'm not saying we get it right, but you have to have that opportunity. So therefore, this monotonous redoing of 10 and 12 is a necessary cost of doing business sometimes. And that's the part that you have to kind of convey to your victims, or that you're trying to advocate for. And it's like, I know this sucks, and it is so wrong of us to make you tell the story again, but to make sure that the people pay for what they did, this is what we have to do. And like you said, CASA, and I know like domestic violence, the SANE program that they've got these great programs that help you guys and help everyone help these victims do these kind of things. So. But it's a rough barrel of monkeys, man. People just don't, it's one of those things. It's a big bag of stink, but we got to take a bite anyway,
and it's very difficult to even scratch the surface in a limited amount of time on what all is encompassed with Diana's job and her job, and she's talked a little bit about the prosecution aspect of what she does, but she hasn't even got into the administrative functions that she serves within our office. And yeah, absolutely. There's so many other hats that she has to wear.
Sure.
And I can't imagine how she's able to balance it all, but she does do a fantastic job of balancing all those, different jobs within the office.
And you've been doing it for 7-8 years now, so those people must agree with him. So.
And I think it's important to reiterate, to the listeners, we're taught that every time we get a chance to educate the public on roles of our office, that one of the things that sometimes really gets misconstrued or screwed up in media is the fact that if a case is pled out by one of our prosecutors, it is not done without being in contact with the victims of that case.
Absolutely.
They have say-so in that 100%.
Spring up on people. Yeah.
It's not, when you read it in the newspaper that this case was pled to something, the victims or the victims and their families or the victims' families, if there's a decedent, are heavily involved in that process.
Yeah, you're months to years behind the story.
This is what we want to do. There's constant talks with the families and stuff on how that goes in. And I think it's important for the listeners to understand that it's just not the prosecutor deciding we're going to do this. There's a lot of moving parts when it comes to
absolutely.
something.
Just because you're hearing about it for the first time doesn't mean there's other parties involved have not been in. And so you're just a fly on the wall catching. You're not seeing the day in, day out what's going on with this case. So. Good deal. Well, we're running out of time, but thank you guys. Thank you both of you for spending. Dennis, as always, appreciate you lining us up and helping us out with this and chit chatting. This time he gets to sit back and take pot shots, but usually he has to work.
This is a lot easier.
Well, thank you for having us on. We
anytime,
appreciate it.
and anytime, we'd love to have you back. And like I said, we'd maybe talk about some of the other side, and maybe even the fun part of your job. Because I imagine there is some fun stuff, too, that you get to do.
And we can always talk about legislative issues, too.
Yeah, I imagine after our 60 days here, when they're over here in a day or two, you've got a whole list of batch of things that you got to figure out and fix or try to mitigate or something. Thank you, guys. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
It is 9:58. Let's take a quick break before we get kicked off the radio. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
If you're tired of sleep problems like insomnia, snoring, or restless leg syndrome, the Sleep Center at Artesia General Hospital is committed to helping you reclaim a good night's rest. Our Artesia location offers convenience, comfort, and a team of staff with more than 25 years of experience in diagnosing and treating adults and teens. It's time to put your sleep disorders to bed. Request an appointment online at artesiageneral.com/sleep.
Time for some facts. Xena Security Services LLC is 100% locally owned and operated. You may have heard rumors that Xena Security was purchased by another company. Rest assured, these claims are absolutely false. Xena Security has been and will continue to be a trusted, locally owned and operated company dedicated to providing our customers the security and monitoring solutions they need for their home or business. Don't believe these rumors. Be secure in your security with locally owned and operated Xena Security. Call 575-626-3521 or stop by 218 West 1st in Roswell. Xena Security Services LLC, locally owned and there when you need it most.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Linen can absorb up to 20 times its weight in moisture before it feels damp. Now, you don't have to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom anymore. Here's Mike Winters.
Closing in on 10 o'clock, 9:59:30 officially. If you missed any part of our show, I invite you to check it out at your leisure. Log on to ksvptv.com. Click on the Mornings with Mike Winters channel. There you'll find all of our interviews and everything. We had Superintendent Brian Luck join us in the 7 o'clock hour talking about their last school board meeting. We had Juanita Jennings, Public Affairs Director, join us in the 8 o'clock hour. And then, of course, just a few minutes ago, we had our District Attorney's Office here join us. Thank you very much for allowing us to be a part of your day. Take care. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Fewer Americans applied for jobless claims last week. The Labor Department reporting that applications for claims in the U.S. for the week ending March 11th fell by 20,000 to 192,000 from 212,000 the previous week. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen tells the Senate Finance Committee and the nation that the U.S. banking system remains sound. Speaking before the Senate Finance Committee, Yellen says the government has taken actions to stabilize and strengthen public confidence in the financial system.
Shareholders and debt holders are not being protected by the government. Importantly, no taxpayer money is being used or put at risk with this action.
Senate Finance Committee Ranking Member Mike Crampo says the bank's collapse